Start planting the divine tree from Douluo. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 26 Yum. After the training, Fang Yuan stood up and went to the bathroom to wash his face. Looking at himself in the mirror, with the scarlet 3 Magatama Sharingan in his eye sockets, Fang Yuan sighed and calmed down. The world around him began to become hazy, and when he opened his eyes again, he had appeared in a dark and scarlet world. This is his spiritual space, or the pupil power space of the Sharingan. When he obtained his first soul ring, Fang Yuan had come here and solved the spiritual backlash of the Silver Moon Fox. After Fang Yuan broke through the 3 Magatama Sharingan, he found that he had the power to enter and exit this space freely. At this moment, in the pupil power space, a scarlet 3 Magatama Sharingan hung high in the sky, but the world that should have been dead and silent had some changes at this moment. In the grey world, illuminated by the Sharingan's moon, there was an invisible and intangible inexplicable aura. In other words, the aura of killing. At first, these murderous auras were just a trace, but as Fang Yuan killed more and more people, the murderous auras gathered here became thicker and thicker. They swirled and intertwined, boiling and entangled, occupying almost all the space in the world, except the blood moon. They looked like a boiling oil pan, and like countless fearless warriors roaring at the blood moon in the sky. Nothing bad should happen, Fang Yuan murmured. To be honest, he was not sure. However, these murderous auras were actively absorbed by the Sharingan after all, so there should be no problem. Moreover, even if there is a problem, it seems to be too late. At this moment, there is only one last trace away from the murderous aura filling the entire spiritual world. Even if Fang Yuan eats vegetarian food and chants Buddhist scriptures from now on, and refuses to kill, it is probably too late. What will you become after absorbing so much murderous aura? Fang Yuan looked at the huge red moon of the Sharingan, his heart full of curiosity. The advanced form of the 3 Magatama Sharingan is the Manjuki Sharingan, and to open the Manjuki Sharingan, extremely strong emotional fluctuations are required. The condensation of murderous aura is to condense murderous aura into a domain, and finally into the domain of the god of killing. But at present, Fang Yuan's pupil power of the Sharingan is still a little short of the Manjuki. Although the murderous aura is heavy, it has not been baptized by the power of the Shura god of the Hell Road, so there is no hope for the domain. It can be said that at present, Fang Yuan, whether it is the Sharingan or his own murderous aura, is actually a half-baked one. But this half-baked one actually began to actively blend together. What will happen in the end, Fang Yuan himself does not know. However, everything should develop in a good direction. Looking at himself in the mirror, Fang Yuan washed his face and his expression became firm. Instead of being here and fearing something unclear, it is better to face it. Today will be my last time to participate in the hell killing field. The cold breath filled the entire killing field, and 10 figures slowly stepped into it. The 10 people had different shapes and auras, but the attention of 9 of them fell on Fang Yuan at the end. After several years of growth, Fang Yuan was no longer the little brat he once was. He was slender, handsome, with long black hair draped behind him, and wearing a scarlet battle armor. The style of the battle armor was different from the armor worn by ordinary law enforcement officers. It looked lighter and exposed his face and limbs. Fang Yuan strolled along the corridor of the killing field, but among the 9 people who walked into the hell killing field with Fang Yuan, 3 were already trembling all over, and 1 was so scared that he could only be pushed forward by the people around him. The remaining 5 people were also fierce on the outside, but weak on the inside. They forced themselves to suppress the fear in their hearts, and walk towards the killing field step by step. 10 people entered one after another, and with Fang Yuan's entry, the originally noisy audience suddenly became quiet, and a pair of eyes widened, looking at Fang Yuan, who was at the end of the 10 people, with disbelief. It's killing Shura. It's killing Shura. He actually came to participate in the hell killing field. He actually came. I remember he has already completed 99 victories. If he wins this one, doesn't it mean that he will complete 100 victories? Killing Shura. Killing Shura. 100 wins. 100 wins. countless audiences raised their arms and shouted, calling out the name belonging to Fang Yuan. Killing Shura. This is Fang Yuan's new name in the past few years. When he won more than 30 victories, in order to better hone his fighting skills, Fang Yuan no longer brought the exploding gorilla to the killing field. Even if he did, he would only bring a jade snake. Later, Fang Yuan relied completely on himself, relying solely on his fighting skills to complete the battle. And killing Shura is the name Fang Yuan earned himself. Elegant fighting skills that are like art, ruthless, and decisive means of killing with every move. For all the fallen, Fang Yuan is the Shura of their killing city, because once the battle begins, all enemies will die in Fang Yuan's extremely fierce fighting skills. The battle begins. With the host's order, the remaining 9 people surrounded Fang Yuan almost immediately, including the guy who peed his pants. They all knew that, if they couldn't work together to get rid of Fang Yuan first, then they would only be waiting for death. The Scarlet 3 Megatama Sharingan quietly opened, and an inexplicable breath spread from Fang Yuan's body. The cold and bloodthirsty breath made the 9 people feel like they fell into an ice cave, and their hearts trembled. The murderous aura on Fang Yuan's body was all absorbed by the Sharingan, so in normal state, Fang Yuan seemed extremely kind. But once the Sharingan was opened, the endless murderous aura would be revealed, giving people the most desperate shock. The oppressive atmosphere made people desperate. The 9 fallen ones could no longer endure this invisible suppression. They roared and howled, and attacked Fang Yuan. The next moment, the 2 sides came into contact. Boom. 9 people rushed from 9 different directions, but it was just the simplest collision, and several people were blown away by the huge force. Under the alternating attacks of hands and feet, every attack would cause a fallen person to fly backwards and fall heavily to the ground. Fists, elbows, wrists, legs, feet. Every part of Fang Yuan's body turned into the most deadly weapon at this moment. His Sharingan turned in his eyes, and every move of the fallen could not escape his eyes. With a slight turn of his body, he dodged the fierce rush of a man holding a long sword. One blow broke the opponent's arm, and the long sword with the broken arm pierced heavily into the chest of another fallen person. With a move of his body, he elbowed behind him, and the sneak attacker behind him was directly shocked and flew out. Boom. Chapter 27. Shocking change. Fang Yuan's movements were not at all sluggish. His body was surprisingly light, and with his long black hair, he looked like he was dancing instead of fighting. The battlefield was obviously filled with cruel and bloody slaughter, but when it came to Fang Yuan, he performed it beautifully. It was like art. The fallen screamed, but in just a few breaths, all 9 of them were killed by Fang Yuan. Killing Shura. Killing Shura. Win. 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 The audience shouted. They shouted Fang Yuan's name, shouting at the top of their lungs. No matter how many times they watched, the fighting method that was like art shocked them. After this killing victory, Fang Yuan did not rush to leave, but stood quietly waiting. The strong murderous aura continued to condense, and was absorbed by Fang Yuan's Sharingan. The killing aura, that was only a breath away from reaching the ultimate pupil power space, was completely enriched at this moment. The Sharingan hanging high in the sky began to show inexplicable changes, but before Fang Yuan could notice it carefully, a low and sharp voice suddenly came from all directions. Congratulations, young Shura of killing, 7052. A low and sharp voice suddenly came from all directions. Fang Yuan paused slightly, raised his head, and looked up at the sky. A blood-red figure was falling from the sky. It was a tall man, wrapped in a huge scarlet cloak, with a pale face, and a pair of completely blood-red eyes. His body slowly descended from the air, as if he didn't need to be restricted by gravity at all. King of killing, king of killing, king of killing. With the appearance of the blood-red figure, the fallen around excitedly shouted loudly. Even if their voices were hoarse, they had no intention of stopping. Fang Yuan pursed his lips slightly, lowered his head, and took the initiative to close his Sharingan. The King of Slaughter has an innate suppression of murderous aura. At this moment, his Sharingan is experiencing the baptism of murderous aura. He doesn't want to cause any accidents. King. Fang Yuan bowed and saluted. He is not only a fallen person who has won hundreds of victories, but also a law enforcer under the King of Slaughter. Moreover, the King of Slaughter is a peerless existence of level 99. It is reasonable that we should be polite. Such an attitude made the King of Slaughter's eyes flash with a trace of relief, but his eyes were more curious. In his perception, Fang Yuan actually did not have a trace of murderous aura leaking out. His calm appearance was as clear and pure as a newcomer who had just entered the city of slaughter. You are such an amazing child. 7052. The King of Slaughter looked Fang Yuan up and down, and spoke softly, as if he was impressed by Fang Yuan's peculiarity. After a moment, his eyes shifted from Fang Yuan to the audience seats around him. I'm very happy. There has not been 100 victorious warrior in the city of slaughter for decades, but at this moment, this young and outstanding boy has successfully accomplished this feat. Slaughter Shura, he successfully won the crown of 100 victories with his powerful strength and superb skills. Every battle of his is so dazzling, and every battle is like art, which makes all of us intoxicated and crazy. Slaughter Shura. Slaughter Shura. Art. Art. Hi. The King of Slaughter seems to have a unique charm, which makes all the fallen people have an almost crazy worship after seeing him. From him, Fang Yuan can smell a faint sweet and fishy smell, which makes people intoxicated. He is very familiar with that smell, because the exploding orangutan and jade snake he keeps at home also have that smell. The smell is unique to Huangquanju. Killing Shura, your performance surprised me and all the fallen ones in the killing city. Therefore, in order to commend your outstanding achievements, I decided to make an exception and grant you the title of Killing God. From now on, you can enter and leave the killing city on your own and be hired as a guest of the killing city under me. Fang Yuan raised his head in astonishment, looking at the killing king who was looking at him with a smile, his eyes full of astonishment. But he quickly reacted. The killing king's attitude was very simple, that is, not to let himself obtain the killing god domain. Sanjay and the little fox in the original book also had such a situation. However, due to the face of the two killing gods, the killing king finally let them go to the hell road. But what about himself? Feeling the killing king's eyes, Fang Yuan thought for a moment, and wanted to nod and agree. After all, he was alone and weak. If he angered the killing king, let alone the hell road, I'm afraid that he might not be able to walk safely in this killing field. He is a smart man. Although the killing god domain is good, you have to be alive to use it, right? Thank you, great king of killing. Boom. Fang Yuan folded his hands and wanted to agree, but before he could say anything, the killing field under his feet began to shake. What happened? Is it an earthquake? Why, this vibration? Countless fallen people looked around in panic and confusion, but the vibration was getting worse. The king of killing frowned and wanted to suppress the vibration, but before he could release his power, those fallen people in the audience were crushed by an invisible force and exploded directly, turning into countless blood. The blood fell on the ground and began to condense. A large amount of blood flowed like streams along the inconspicuous small pipes under the audience to the central field of the killing field. Countless winding red liquids flowed into the field like small snakes, and finally gathered under Fang Yuan's feet. Fang Yuan was somewhat puzzled, and cast a puzzled look at the King of Slaughter, only to find that the King of Slaughter was also confused. Obviously, the movement here was not caused by the King of Slaughter. So what on earth was this? Boom. All the fallen in the audience turned into blood, and gathered at Fang Yuan's feet. At this moment, only the King of Slaughter and Fang Yuan were left in the huge killing field. In a trance, two beams of light, one black and red, and one dark purple, cut through the sky, and fell from the sky, covering Fang Yuan's body. Fang Yuan, bathed in the beam of light, was a little dazed, and seemed to have no idea what was going on. But his eyes involuntarily turned into scarlet Sharingan, and the strong murderous aura continued to burst out of his body, as if it could explode at any time. The sudden change surprised Fang Yuan, and confused the King of Slaughter. Looking at the pillar of light in front of him, the King of Slaughter seemed to remember something, and his eyes suddenly widened. How is this possible? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 28, Double God Assessment, Top 7 Assessments. In addition to the soul masters of level 1 to 99 on Douluo Continent, there is also a group of extraordinary beings. Their strength has surpassed the limits of the mundane world, breaking through to level 100 and heading to a higher level world. They are called gods. The city of slaughter is the domain left behind by a level 100 god after his breakthrough. Or rather, two. Looking at Fang Yuan in front of him, the memory that had been dormant in the depths of his consciousness was dug out at this moment. The King of Slaughter's eyes were filled with a trace of confusion, a trace of astonishment, and a trace of disbelief. It's actually a divine test. Yes, he recognized the changes in Fang Yuan at this moment. He was too familiar with the pillar of light that reached the sky. He had also experienced such a glorious baptism at the beginning and finally reached the top of the entire world. At this moment, Fang Yuan actually triggered the divine test as well, and from this point of view, it was a double divine test. The King of Slaughter naturally recognized the dark red pillar of light, the test of the Shura god who was pure killing evil thoughts. As for the black and purple pillar of light, evil, depravity, and murderous intent. The breath coming out of that beam of light was also filled with evil thoughts, but it was completely different from that of the Shura god. Moreover, for some reason, the King of Slaughter always felt that he had come into contact with this breath somewhere. As time went by, the color of the two beams of light that enveloped Fang Yuan also began to change slightly. First, it changed from light red and light purple to dark red and dark purple, and finally to black red and black purple. Looking at the changes in the light of Fang Yuan's body, the expression on the face of the King of Slaughter became more and more stunned. However, in just a few breaths, the red and purple beams of light had already turned into black red and black purple, and the light of the two beams of light almost completely covered Fang Yuan's body. Moreover, the color change of the light beams has not ended yet. It's already a black level assessment, and it's still changing. That is, top level assessment. The King of Slaughter widened his eyes, and soon, the color of the two beams of light that reached the sky changed to the purest red and purple. Could it be that this kid, the Slaughter King's expression changed, but in the end, although the color of the two beams of light continued to deepen, it did not turn into pure golden red and golden purple. Only when the red and purple colors finally stopped. Looking at the colorful beams of light, the Slaughter King was in a trance. In the past, he had also accepted the top level assessment, and at this moment, Fang Yuan, this kid, actually started the top level assessment, and it was a double god assessment. This is really. The bright beam of light gradually dimmed and dissipated, and Fang Yuan slowly fell from the air, and opened his eyes. There was a trace of surprise and astonishment in his eyes. The two marks, one red and one purple, were like intertwined burning candles, engraved between his eyebrows, and at the same time, a huge amount of information poured into his mind. Before Fang Yuan could take a breath, two groups of inexplicable energy poured into his body at the same time, running wildly in his body. The nature of these two energy groups is completely different. One is as hot as fire, and the other is as cool as ice. And every time the power collided, Fang Yuan felt that his body was constantly alternating between hot and cold. Imperceptibly, Fang Yuan vaguely felt that his body had undergone some subtle changes in the collision and interweaving of the two energy groups. But he couldn't tell what it was. He only knew that the feeling was magical, as if his body's functions were straightened out, and it was indescribably comfortable. I don't know how long it took, but the two energy groups in Fang Yuan's body finally stopped colliding and interweaving, and began to stabilize. The fiery red energy occupied Fang Yuan's body and merged into his limbs, while the cool purple energy could only be integrated into Fang Yuan's mind. Fang Yuan couldn't help but open his mouth and spit out a breath of turbid air, which seemed to be the turbid air that was expelled when the two energy groups collided in his body. Fang Yuan slowly opened his eyes. The scarlet Sharingan seemed to become even more profound and evil at this moment. The three black jade beads even showed some signs of sticking together, which made people feel dazed. King, what am I doing? Fang Yuan touched his forehead, looked at the King of Slaughter in front of him, and asked softly, what is the top 7 tests? Looking at the ignorant boy in front of him, the King of Slaughter didn't know what to say for a moment. Such a boy. This ignorant, immature boy who didn't have much evil and murderous aura on his body. How could he accept the divine tests of two gods at the same time? This is unscientific. After all, it's just a top level test, not a god level test, that's all. The King of Slaughter sighed lightly and finally let go of the killing intent in his heart. Perhaps because of your outstanding performance, the Shura god who created the Slaughter City in the past valued you, and he specially gave you a test. The test is divided into high and low levels, and the difficulty of the test is different for different levels. Just like the color of the soul ring, from low to high, they are white level test, yellow level test, purple level test, black level test and red top level test. And now appearing in your mind is the top level red top level test among the tests, the top 7 tests. As long as you can complete these tasks, you will be blessed by the gods. The King of Slaughter explained, and Fang Yuan nodded as if he understood, but he was relieved in his heart. He originally thought of leaving the Slaughter City directly, but such a thing happened. To be honest, Fang Yuan was really afraid that the King of Slaughter in front of him would see that he had a divine test and feel resentful or jealous, so he just did it for him. Fortunately, it seems that his daily performance played a key role. God's test. Fang Yuan opened his mouth wide, his handsome face full of surprise. Do gods really exist in this world? Become a god at level 100, break through the void, and enter the sky. The King of Slaughter shook his head and sighed. Legend has it that, as long as you can break through level 100, you can become a god. As for whether there are really gods in this world, isn't what you are experiencing at this moment a perfect proof of this? Fang Yuan clenched his fists, with shock in his expression. The power of gods. At the same time, in the spirit hall, in the Pope's hall, a figure leaned against the luxurious throne a little tiredly. She was wearing a purple gold luxurious robe and a 9-curve purple gold crown on her head. Her skin was as white as snow, her red lips were delicate, her nose was straight, and her 2 strands of purple red hair were hanging by her ears, adding a touch of beauty to her. Perfect, noble, elegant, and tranquil. It seemed that any words to praise women in the world were not enough to describe the woman in front of her. She quietly leaned against the throne and took a nap, but suddenly, an invisible force seemed to emerge in her mind and woke her up. Rakshasa test? How could it be that there is someone who can activate the Rakshasa God's test? Chapter 29 The King of Slaughter accepts a disciple. He has ulterior motives. Looking at the scene in front of him with a lot of emotion, Fang Yuan seemed to have recalled the glorious King of Slaughter in the past. He remained silent sensibly. In the eyes of the King of Slaughter, Fang Yuan's identity as a child with extraordinary talent, favored and controlled by him, was confirmed. In addition, he accepted the God test at this moment. As long as he kept calm, the King of Slaughter would basically not attack him. But to be honest, feeling the information in his mind, Fang Yuan himself was a little unbelievable. He never thought that he had only completed the 100 victories in the City of Slaughter and did not even participate in the road to hell, but was directly selected by the gods and sent down the God test. Although the 2 God tests were not the God position inheritance test, this was a double God test. The gap between the top 7 tests and the God position test is actually not that big. In addition to the artifact God position, other things such as the increase in the age of the soul ring, the God-given soul ring, etc., are also included in the top 7 tests. Moreover, if Fang Yuan can complete both God tests, it can be said that, except for the lack of the artifact God position, Fang Yuan can benefit from these 2 top 7 tests, even more than the God test. But then again, I can understand that God Shura wants to give me a test, but why does God Rakshasa also want to give me a test? According to the time, Bibidung should have already accepted the Rakshasa 9 tests. The throne has begun to be passed down, and he is still given the top 7 tests. Fang Yuan was puzzled, and simply shook his head, not thinking about it. How could a mere mortal like him understand the affairs of the gods? Since you have forced the gods test on me, I will take it. Fang Yuan, what is the content of your test? The King of Slaughter looked at Fang Yuan kindly, and even took the initiative to give his name instead of the code name 7052. Fang Yuan, who heard his name for the first time in several years, was a little dazed. After shaking his head and putting aside the inexplicable emotion, Fang Yuan checked the information of the gods test in his mind and was stunned. What's wrong? No, nothing, Great King of Slaughter. Fang Yuan shook his head and smiled bitterly. It's just that I'm afraid I have to violate the king's order once. My first test is called the domain of the god of slaughter. Tips: go to the Hell Road in the city of slaughter, complete the clearance, and obtain the domain of the god of slaughter to pass the test. You can quit halfway, and the time limit is 1 year. I promised the king of slaughter that I would not go to the Hell Road and directly receive the title of the god of slaughter. As a result, the first test came directly like this. Fang Yuan showed a helpless look, but he didn't expect the king of slaughter to laugh and shake his head. Why do you have to do this, little brother Fang Yuan? Since this is the order of the Shura god, how can I stop it? But opening the Hell Road requires a blood sacrifice. This time, all the sacrifices are used for you to attract the god's test. If you want to open the Hell Road, I'm afraid it will be tomorrow. The kind attitude of the king of slaughter surprised Fang Yuan a little. Under normal circumstances, shouldn't he be angry and violent? Why is he now? Fang Yuan looked at the king of slaughter at this moment. For some reason, he suddenly felt that the attitude of the king of slaughter in front of him towards him was like that of an elder looking at a younger generation who was about to become a talent. Could this guy be treating him as the future heir? Fang Yuan's heart skipped a beat, and this idea suddenly popped up in his mind. Fang Yuan, it's not easy to pass the Hell Road. Let me tell you, this hell not only has. Therefore, if you want to pass the Hell Road, you not only need excellent and exquisite skills, but also strong soul power and willpower to support it. Fang Yuan, I never doubt your fighting skills and willpower, but you may still be a little lacking in soul power. The king of slaughter shook his head and said. Fang Yuan lowered his head and whispered, I hope the king can solve my doubts. Smart little guy. The king of slaughter laughed and scolded. In fact, in the past few years, you have been practicing hard in the slaughter city. Your own soul power has actually reached an extremely high level. Although you cannot break through to level 20 because of the soul ring, the soul power squeezed in your body is extremely huge. At this time, you only need a soul ring, and the soul power accumulated in your body will be released to maximize your level. At that time, you will definitely be promoted several levels directly, or even directly reach level 30, and you may directly obtain the third soul ring. Soul ring. Fang Yuan's face showed a trace of sadness, but there are no soul beasts in this slaughter city. There are indeed no soul beasts in the slaughter city, but there are soul beasts in the outside world. The king of slaughter smiled. You are the god of slaughter, and you have the right to enter and exit the slaughter city freely. You can go to the outside world first, obtain the soul ring, and then come to the Hell Road to complete the god test. I can even let the slaughter messenger or the slaughter knight go out with you to protect you. This. Fang Yuan was shocked. Hey, you are originally from my slaughter city, and it is my duty to improve your strength. However, I do have a request. The king of slaughter interrupted Fang Yuan's words, looked at Fang Yuan who was excited, and said with a smile, I hope you can become my disciple. What? Fang Yuan looked dazed, and his heart was also full of This guy actually wants to regard himself as the future successor. Douluo Continent attaches great importance to the inheritance of master and apprentice. Basically, as long as the apprentice does not do something to betray the master and destroy the ancestors, the future apprentice will basically inherit everything from the master. The king of slaughter now wants to accept Fang Yuan as his apprentice, so 100 years later, Fang Yuan is very likely to inherit the entire slaughter city and become the new king of slaughter. The huge joy was like falling from the sky, hitting Fang Yuan's head, making him confused. He looked at the king of slaughter with some confusion, looking at the scholar eyes, but his heart was shocked. Wait, this guy. Could it be that he is interested in my body? The king of slaughter was born when the 9-headed Bat King devoured Tang Chen and controlled Tang Chen's body. Although Tang Chen is strong, the 99 level peerless Douluo is unparalleled in the world, but that body is old after all. Although the peerless Douluo has a certain degree of life blessing, how many years can that broken body that failed to inherit the inheritance of the Shura god live? Even because of Tang Chen's resistance, the king of slaughter couldn't even use Tang Chen's martial soul, the clear sky hammer, and could only rely on his own soul power to fight. This body, for the 9-headed Bat King, was actually a scrap that was about to be scrapped. But now, a brand new, full of potential, youthful, and energetic boy. a boy who inherited the same top 7 tests as Tang Chen, and even a top 7 tests of the Rakshasa god, appeared in front of it. Chapter 30, Killing Crystal, Night Guard. As the saying goes, you should not have the intention to harm others, but you must be on guard against others. After coming to this world for so many years, Fang Yuan has never had a peaceful day. He was captured by the evil soul master when his martial soul awakened. Although he settled down in this killing city later and seemed to live a very free and easy life, but every day is almost like walking on thin ice. In fact, only he knows the hardships and bitterness. The day-to-day killing and survival made this young man agree with the theory of human nature, especially when faced with such benefits that appeared out of thin air. But in front of him, King, what virtue and ability does Fang Yuan have? This. Fang Yuan was so excited that he couldn't even say what to say for a while. Seeing such an expression on the face of the killing Shura who shocked the entire killing city, the king of killing laughed out loud. You are the killing Shura of our killing city, a killing god who has achieved 100 victories, and you are also a fierce general under my command and the law enforcer of the killing city. In terms of strength, qualifications, seniority, and achievements, you are the most suitable candidate. Why not? The king of killing smiled and patted Fang Yuan on the shoulder. Or do you think I'm not worthy of your king? Fang Yuan hurriedly interrupted the words of the king of killing in panic and anxiously, and bowed to the king of killing. Fang Yuan is willing to be your disciple, teacher. Ha 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 ha. Okay. The king of killing laughed and said, from now on, you are my first direct disciple of the king of killing, and the holy son of my killing city. That's right. The king of killing looked around, and finally took out a crystal from his arms, and handed it to Fang Yuan. There is actually nothing in this slaughter city. If you like it, you can take it at will. Although I'm the king of slaughter, I have nothing good to give you. So, this slaughter crystal is my gift to you. This slaughter crystal contains my full strength attack. Even a titled Douluo cannot resist its power. Thank you, teacher. Fang Yuan took it with joy. Although he was worried that the king of slaughter would covet his body, he should not miss such a good thing. Even a titled Douluo could not resist this attack. With it, Fang Yuan's safety would definitely be greatly increased when he went out to obtain spirit rings. Seeing Fang Yuan happily put the slaughter crystal into his spirit guide, the king of slaughter nodded with satisfaction. As a teacher, I should take you to get the spirit ring in person, but this slaughter city cannot do without the slaughter king, and I can't leave. I see. The slaughter king took out a blood-colored token from his arms and threw it to Fang Yuan. You are originally a member of the law enforcement team. I allow you to transfer a law enforcement officer from the law enforcement team to accompany you. He will obey your orders throughout the journey. In addition, your relationship with Nightingale seems to be pretty good. Let Nightingale accompany you on this journey, just as a way to relieve your boredom. Nightingale, also known as the Slaughter Messenger. Fang Yuan looked a little strange. Was this sending him a girl, or was he worried about him being outside and arranged a personal spy for him? But no matter what it was actually the same. That is, Fang Yuan could not refuse the Slaughter King. Thank you, teacher. Fang Yuan was full of smiles, and the Slaughter King also smiled and waved his hand. Okay, go get ready. Let's set off tomorrow without further ado. Yes, teacher. Fang Yuan bowed and withdrew. The king of slaughter was the only one left on the huge killing field. The blood-red eyes of the king of slaughter looked at the empty killing field. The blood was flowing in his eyes. His emotions were inexplicable and people could not see clearly. Not long after, the messenger of slaughter stepped in and stood respectfully behind the king of slaughter. King, you should also get ready. Tomorrow, you will follow Fang Yuan to leave the killing city. There is one more thing I need you to do. Fang Yuan accepted 2 top 7 tests. One of them is the Shura god, and the other one, I suspect it is related to the god of slaughter in the spirit hall. The king of slaughter took out a scarlet crystal, which was exactly the same as the one he gave Fang Yuan before. Fang Yuan may not be able to contact the god of killing of Haoshan sect, but Fang Yuan is originally a member of the spirit hall. This time he goes out, he will definitely have some contact with the spirit hall, and it is even very likely that he will meet the god of killing. When the time comes, seize the opportunity. I understand. Nightingale held the killing crystal in both hands, carefully put it into his own storage soulless guide, and then respectfully withdrew. the king of slaughter and killing, stood on the killing field with his hands behind his back and murmured, "God of killing, I'm enough." Fang Yuan, who returned to his residence, sorted it out a little. In fact, there was nothing to sort out. Most of the things were basically in his Ouroboros bracelet, and the rest of the stuff was dispensable. Besides, he still had to come back to obtain the God of Killing domain and complete the God test. It's not like he won't come back. He will come back to live again when the time comes. Roar, roar. A low roar sounded in the corner. Fang Yuan looked at the exploding orangutan who was patting his chest and looking at him anxiously and couldn't help but laugh. "What are you thinking about? Just stay here and watch the house. Besides, even if I have to go, I can only take the jade snake with me at most." Sissy. The jade snake perched on the bedside suddenly made an excited hissing sound and looked at the dejected exploding orangutan with a proud look. The exploding orangutan was furious and pounced on the jade snake, but it dodged easily. It perched on the cabinet beside it and laughed, as if it was laughing at the exploding orangutan's stupidity. Roar. The exploding orangutan was a little angry, but before the two soul beasts started fighting, a strong aura appeared outside his house. "Come in." Fang Yuan called softly, and the door opened. A law enforcement officer covered in black armor walked into the room. The familiar strong aura made Fang Yuan a little stunned, and he even almost lost his grip on the red armor he had just taken off. "Kill, Lord Slaughter Knight. It's me." The Slaughter Knight took off his dark mask, revealing the face of a middle-aged man. He glanced at the exploding gorilla and the jade snake who were fighting, and the two soul beasts suddenly quieted down. They were in the corner, not daring to breathe. "I heard from the king that the Holy Sun needs guards when he leaves the Slaughter City. I volunteered to come and guard the Holy Sun." Looking at the Slaughter Knight who blinked at him, Fang Yuan's mouth twitched, revealing a helpless look. "Captain, please don't tease me. I'm just going to hunt one or two soul beasts, you old. The safety of the Holy Sun is more important than anything else, and everything I say and do comes from the bottom of my heart. So how can I tease you?" The Slaughter Knight snorted and looked at Fang Yuan. "Holy Sun, you don't dislike me, do you?" Point 6. Chapter 31. Soul Ring Concept. Uninvited guests. "Holy Sun, what kind of second soul ring are you going to get?" In the Stardao Great Forest, a carriage was driving fast on the road. In the carriage, Nightingale knelt respectfully beside him, holding the sleeping jade snake in her arms, looking at Fang Yuan who was resting with his eyes closed, and asked with some respect and curiosity. Fang Yuan looked at this woman with some disdain. This girl had always been careless to him on weekdays, but after knowing that he had become the Holy Sun yesterday, her attitude almost changed 180 degrees. That submissive and respectful look made him uncomfortable. "Anything is fine, but it's better to be spiritual," Fang Yuan said casually. "My first soul skill comes from the 450-year-old Silver Moon Fox, which is a spiritual soul skill. If possible, I hope the second soul ring is the same." "I see." Nightingale nodded in understanding, but the killing knight driving the carriage suddenly spoke up and suggested, "In fact, I think the second soul ring of the Holy Sun can choose to enhance the body or strengthen the amplification type of soul skills." "Oh." Fang Yuan was a little curious. When it comes to the pursuit of soul rings, one should choose soul rings according to the characteristics of the martial soul to the greatest extent. Only in this way can one maximize the power of one's own martial soul. His Sharingan is based on mental power, eye power, so he should naturally choose a soul beast that is biased towards mental power. How could he choose a soul beast that strengthens the body or has a strengthening and amplification type? If Nightingale said this, Fang Yuan would definitely sneer, but this is different when it is said by the Killing Knight. The Killing Knight is a real titled Douluo and a powerful existence of level 95. His opinion is obviously worthy of respect. Ordinary people choose soul rings. Naturally they want to choose the one that best suits their own martial soul, but the Holy Sun is not an ordinary person. As if sensing Fang Yuan's doubts, the Killing Knight explained, whether it is combat skills or mental power, the Holy Sun is far superior to his peers. In the case of not competing in soul power, even compared with an old-fashioned strongman like me, he is not much behind. Fang Yuan listened carefully, and Nightingale nodded in agreement. Fang Yuan's fighting skills are too terrifying. His killing methods are like art, which are almost unheard of. To be offensive, Nightingale even feels that in terms of fighting skills alone, even the king of killing may not be Fang Yuan's opponent. The one who used the copying power of the Sharingan to absorb the fighting skills of countless fallen and countless law enforcement officers and condensed the moves, is undoubtedly the sharpest killing weapon in the world. Fighting skills are indeed important in the battle of soul masters, but Saint, this is not the city of killing. The voice of the killing knight came faintly from outside the carriage. After leaving the slaughter city, soul masters can use their soul skills normally, and their own soul power will not be suppressed. In this case, the advantage of combat skills will be compressed to the greatest extent, even to the point of being insignificant. For example, if the Holy Sun fights with me in the slaughter city, we may win or lose, but in the outside world, I can even rely solely on soul power oppression to directly crush the Holy Sun. Fang Yuan looked solemn and nodded heavily. He was not blinded by the victory in the slaughter city. All along, Fang Yuan has a clear understanding of his own position. He is just a level 20 soul master with some skills, but not much. His combat power can only fight with Soul Venerable and Soul Sect at most. Not to mention comparing him with the titled Douluo of Slaughter Knight, even Zhao Wuji in Shrek Academy might be able to beat him to death. Although the Holy Sun is the god of killing, he is only 11 years old and still young, so there is a huge room for growth. But the improvement of soul power cannot be achieved overnight. If you want to maximize your strength in a short period of time, it is the best choice to play to your strengths and avoid your weaknesses. The killing knight said slowly, play to your strengths in combat skills and avoid your weakness in soul power. Therefore, having an amplification soul skill that strengthens the body is undoubtedly the best choice for the Holy Sun. Fang Yuan's face showed a look of sudden realization. The killing knight was thinking about the god test. He needed to obtain the god of killing domain within a year to complete the first test of the Shura god's god test, so he had to pass the hell road. And with his current strength, it would undoubtedly be a foolish dream to want to pass the hell road, so the killing knight hoped that Fang Yuan would focus on strengthening his combat power. I've learned your lesson. Holy Sun, I've said it before, it's absolutely right to bring me out. The killing knight, who was driving the carriage, smiled and immediately swept away the serious atmosphere. Fang Yuan smiled helplessly and began to think about the situation of the hell road. In the original novel, Sanjay encountered 3 levels of obstacles in the Hell Road, namely the Dark Gold 3-headed Bat King, the Ancient Prehistoric Beast, the 10-headed Fiery Sun Snake, and the final Domain Suppression. But Fang Yuan guessed that there was more than just this one passage in the Hell Road. After all, both the 3-headed Bat King and the 10-headed Fiery Sun Snake were extremely powerful soul beasts. If the Hell Road only had this 3-level road, then these 2 soul beasts should have died as early as the time when Tang Heo and Bibi Dong were together. You know, compared to Sanjay and the little fox, those 2 guys are the real killing gods. If they met these 2 guys, there is no reason to let them live. If we only encounter the 3-headed Bat King and the 10-headed Scorching Sun Snake, it would be fine. I'm afraid they might cause some trouble. Although the 3-headed Bat King and the 10-headed Scorching Sun Snake are strong, Fang Yuan has a good idea of what to do with them after the 3 cuts. But if it is a brand new challenge, the unknown is often the most terrifying. While Fang Yuan was thinking, the carriage suddenly stopped. Have you found a suitable soul beast, Lord Slaughter Knight? Nightingale curiously pulled open the curtain of the carriage and looked out, but when she saw the surrounding situation clearly, her delicate and beautiful face turned cold and her eyebrows slightly furrowed. The jade snake sleeping in her arms seemed to feel something was wrong and woke up, spitting out its tongue and making a hissing sound. What happened? Fang Yuan opened his eyes and felt a lot of auras appearing around him, but the moment he spoke, those auras all dissipated. No, it's nothing. It's just some blind little guys who disturb the Holy Sun's cultivation. The leisurely voice of the killing knight sounded, and he drove the carriage again and headed towards the interior of the Stardao Great Forest. Fang Yuan pulled open the curtain with some confusion, but what caught his eyes were dozens of bodies dressed in black, with their bodies torn apart. Men in black? Holy Sun, don't worry too much. They are probably not coming for us. A token was handed in by the killing knight. Nightingale took it and presented it to Fang Yuan respectfully. Fang Yuan played with the token. The material of this token is quite special, obviously not an ordinary item. The mark on it is also unusual. It is a white tiger that seems to be roaring, extremely majestic. These guys, are they from the Star Luo Empire? Chapter 32 Golden Crocodile. On the Douluo Continent, the marks on the tokens cannot be carved at will, and even the tokens cannot be used at will, because what they represent is not only a symbol of identity, but also represents the powerful existence behind this organization. For example, the Elders' Orders and the Pope's Orders of the Spirit all have special marks, especially the Pope's Order, which is engraved with 6 patterns. They come from the 6-winged angel, the inherited spirit of the Pope of the Spirit Hall, the Haotian sect's inherited spirit, the Haotian hammer, the 7 killing swords, the first title of the 7 treasures glazed tile sect, the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex of the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex sect, one of the top 3 sects, and the Elder of the Spirit Hall, Jugi Douluo. The white tiger pattern is also rare. On the Douluo Continent, only that force can use the special mark of the white tiger so blatantly. The royal family of the Xingluo Empire. Looking at their appearance, they should be here to search for something. The Xingdao Great Forest is located at the junction of the Xingluo Empire and the Xiandao Empire. Fang Yuan is not surprised to see people from the Xingluo Empire here. Fang Yuan was not interested in what they were searching for. Although he did not understand the dirty things in the royal family, he had heard about them. He could only say that they were unlucky, and ran into him. The carriage continued to move forward. After arriving at the central area of the Stardao Great Forest, the 3 people got off the car, and put the carriage away. Fang Yuan had been to the Stardao Great Forest before. When he obtained the first soul ring, he came here with Zia. It was just that he was in the outer area at that time, and now he was a little deeper. In Fang Yuan's perception, there seemed to be endless plant-type soul beasts around, and among those plant-type soul beasts, there were many powerful beings. Just by stepping into it, Fang Yuan sensed dozens of powerful and ferocious auras, locking them in the bushes. If it were not for the killing knight, those beasts would probably pounce on him and tear him to pieces. In this area, if there were no powerful soul masters, even someone like Fang Yuan who had experienced countless battles in the killing city, would not dare to stay for long. Of course, although the Xingdao Great Forest is full of dangers, there are indeed many soul beasts. Not long after, the killing knight noticed a good soul beast. This is a 700-year-old blue-eyed tiger. If you obtain its soul ring, the Holy Sun will definitely be able to obtain a powerful soul skill. The killing knight suggested to Fang Yuan, while holding a giant tiger that had fainted. The blue-eyed tiger is a fierce beast among tigers, and its strength is not bad. It is indeed a good choice to use it as a soul ring. Fang Yuan shook his head, but the age is too low. 700 years is still low. The killing knight hesitated, but soon reacted. In Yu Xiao Gang's theory, for ordinary people, the limit of the second soul ring is 764 years. This 700-year-old blue-eyed tiger is undoubtedly an excellent choice for ordinary people. But is Fang Yuan an ordinary person? In the 4 or 5 years in the killing city, the training Fang Yuan experienced, the improvement of his body, and the accumulation of soul power have long surpassed ordinary people. Apart from anything else, that body that had experienced countless killings was simply not something that an ordinary level 20 soul master could match. If such a body was only used to absorb the soul ring of 700 years, it would indeed be a bit of a waste of talent. I'm short-sighted. The killing knight casually slapped the blue-eyed tiger in his hand to death. After carefully looking at Fang Yuan, he said in a deep voice, with the current physical fitness of the Holy Sun, even if you absorb a 1000-year soul beast, it may not be a problem. However, if you really absorb a 1000-year soul beast, we may have to be more thoughtful in choosing the soul beast. Please wait for a moment, Holy Sun. In Fang Yuan's somewhat confused eyes, the killing knight's figure turned into a black shadow and disappeared. When he appeared again, he was already in mid-air, looking down at the dense bushes under his feet. Or 1000-year soul beast with a gentler personality and soul power that is not so violent. The killing knight murmured, and his mental power and soul power swept through the bushes recklessly. Countless soul beasts felt the breath scan, and they were all like frightened birds. Some powerful soul beasts felt provoked by such a probe, and wanted to roar, to show their soul beast majesty. But the next second, the extremely cold, suffocating breath, as if a sea of blood and corpses, pressed down. Those soul beasts who just wanted to roar were frightened by this breath, and their limbs trembled. Not to mention stretching their necks and barking, they could hardly stand. Fang Yuan was stunned by the exaggerated search method. Ordinary people came to the Stardao Great Forest to obtain soul rings. Which one is not cautious, for fear that the momentum they made would be too great, triggering a beast tide or an attack by a powerful soul beast. But the Killing Knight had no such concerns at all. He just released his powerful momentum of the titled Douluo and searched for his target unscrupulously. Wherever the momentum passed, everything was convinced. Even if some extremely powerful 10,000-year soul beasts were dissatisfied, they could only lower their heads under the vast momentum. Very good. This is very Killing City. Fang Yuan smiled helplessly. It seemed that he didn't need to look for any soul beasts. He just had to wait here quietly. Straightforward and violent, the Killing Knight's style of doing things was obviously full of the style of Killing City. Not long after, the Killing Knight came to Fang Yuan with a huge beast. Fang Yuan looked at the soul beast in the Killing Knight's hand with some curiosity. The soul beast looked a bit like a crocodile. Sharp fangs were all over the mouth, and the surface of the body was covered with layers of golden scales, like golden armor. Coupled with the strong body, it was obvious that it was a fierce beast. But such a ferocious soul beast, in the hands of the Killing Knight, was like a puddle of mud, drooping weakly and falling into a coma. This is a 1,100-year-old golden crocodile, the king of crocodiles. Holy son, this guy's definitely suitable for you. Golden crocodile? Fang Yuan was a little surprised. If he remembered correctly, the soul of the current second worshipper of the Spirit Hall, the 98 level Super Douluo Golden Crocodile Douluo, seemed to be the golden giant crocodile. Being able to cultivate such a martial soul to the 98 level may be due to the good opportunities of the golden crocodile, but the quality of the martial soul definitely accounts for the vast majority of factors. After all, blind Douluo Taojie once said that a useless martial soul, even if the innate soul power is so high, the future achievements will definitely be mediocre. This shows how powerful and outstanding the golden giant crocodile is. Among the soul beasts, perhaps only the ultimate soul beast like the dark gold terror claw bear can suppress it. Fang Yuan nodded. Okay, this is it. Chapter 33 Level Explosion. If ordinary people come, this 1,000-year-old golden crocodile will definitely cause them a lot of trouble, and may even overturn. But here in Fang Yuan, we can only mourn for this golden crocodile for 3 seconds. The palm blade of the Killing Knight easily cut off all the limbs of the unconscious golden crocodile. The unconscious golden crocodile woke up in pain and let out a wail, but was knocked unconscious again by the Killing Knight the next second. Holy son. Fang Yuan nodded, raised his hand, and fell with his knife, ending the life of the golden crocodile. A circle of lavender soul rings floated out from the golden crocodile's body and quietly hovered in front of Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan did not hesitate, and directly used his soul power to pull the soul ring and put it on his body. Unexpectedly, the expected torment and discomfort did not happen. This 1,000-year soul ring that far exceeded the limit of the second soul ring merged into Fang Yuan's body, and it did not bring Fang Yuan any discomfort. The fusion process was uneventful. Not only was there no pain, but on the contrary, the soul power brought by the 1,000-year soul ring continued to nourish Fang Yuan's body. At the same time, the appearance of the soul ring was like a key to pry open the door of the treasure house. The soul power that had been accumulated in Fang Yuan's body for several years continued to emerge at this moment. The rich soul power even overflowed, causing a soul power storm around him. Soul power of this level. Nightingale opened her mouth wide, her eyes full of disbelief, and the Killing Knight showed a look of satisfaction and nodded. Such soul power fluctuations are obviously not what a great soul master can have. It seems that the level upgrade of the Holy Sun this time will not be a huge surprise. Level 25. This is a level that the soul ring was upgraded to after being absorbed by Fang Yuan. The powerful soul power given by the 1,000-year soul ring directly pushed Fang Yuan to the level of 25, but the soul power storm that condensed and wrapped around him did not stop at all, but became more and more turbulent. Level 27. Level 29. Level 30. Almost in the blink of an eye, Fang Yuan was promoted 5 levels in a row and directly reached the limit of level 30, but the soul power in his body was still surging, and there was no sign of stopping. However, perhaps because of the lack of soul rings and the key to unlock level 30, those soul powers were surging, but in the end they could only retreat back into Fang Yuan's body. When the soul ring was completely integrated into his body, Fang Yuan also felt the skills brought to him by this soul ring, and at the same time, he also felt his own level. The incredible improvement even surprised him. When he opened his eyes, the killing knight beside him had already laughed and opened his mouth. Congratulations, Holy Sun. In just a quarter of an hour, the Holy Sun has reached level 30 from level 20. Such a speed of promotion is truly unprecedented and unparalleled. Congratulations, Holy Sun. Congratulations, Holy Sun. There's nothing to congratulate. It's just a power that should have been obtained long ago. Fang Yuan shook his head indifferently. I have to trouble the captain again, but I don't know what kind of soul beast I should find for my third soul ring. These are all trivial matters. The killing knight waved his hands repeatedly. If he was asked to find a soul beast in the killing city, it would indeed be a headache. But if he was in the Stardow Great Forest, where soul beasts were everywhere, finding a suitable soul beast would be as simple as eating and drinking for him. The limit of the third soul ring is 1760 years, but according to the current situation of the Holy Sun, even a soul ring of 3000 or even 5000 years should not be a problem. However, before obtaining the soul ring, I need to know what the soul skill of the Holy Sun's second soul ring is. Soul skill? Fang Yuan nodded and checked his second soul skill. As expected, his second soul skill is really an amplification soul skill, as the killing knight said. The second soul skill, Golden Crocodile Transformation. When the soul skill is activated, and before his soul power is exhausted, his attack power, defense power, and movement speed will be temporarily increased by 100%, and he will also gain the effect of Golden Crocodile Shock, which will have a deterrent effect on soul masters with lower levels than himself. Although the second soul skill is not an offensive soul skill like the first soul skill, and does not have the permanent attribute amplification of the first soul skill, the 100% amplification attribute is enough to satisfy him. You know, this level of soul skills can completely rival the third soul ring of the soul master. Damubei is mentioned here, not to mention Fang Yuan's second soul skill, which also has a side effect of Golden Crocodile Shock. The powerful attribute amplification, coupled with Fang Yuan's own outstanding combat skills, it can be said that during the period when the soul skill is activated, Fang Yuan will completely turn into a pure, unstoppable killing machine, ending everything. It is indeed an amplification soul skill, and it is a multi-dimensional amplification of attack, speed, and defense. Very good. The killing knight who received the soul skill information nodded with satisfaction. The appearance of the second soul skill will greatly enhance Fang Yuan's combat effectiveness. Moreover, the choice space for the third soul skill can also become more extensive. For now, the problem of the saint's combat power is completely sufficient. With the increase of the second soul skill, the saint's own combat skills will be strengthened to the maximum extent. Coupled with the saint's first soul skill, the saint has no problem in attacking. So for the choice of the third soul skill, we might as well look at it from other angles. The killing knight talked freely, looking at Fang Yuan, like a king who walked to the top from a thorny road, and began to cultivate a trumpet. Saint, do you know what kind of soul master is considered a qualified soul master, and what kind of soul master can be called a real strong man? This time, the killing knight did not speak directly, but asked back. Qualified soul master? Real strong man? Fang Yuan frowned slightly, and thought for a while. I know, but Nightingale jumped out, and made a presence. Soul masters are divided into different departments, namely control department, strong attack department, agile attack department, auxiliary department and defense department. If a soul master wants to be qualified, he must at least be able to complete his duties. Only in this way can he be a qualified soul master. For example, for the control department, he must have strong control, and the strong attack department is an unstoppable attack force. And those soul masters who position themselves and exert their strengths to the extreme are truly strong. Nightingale spoke loudly. Her voice was elegant and a little charming, and such an opinion also made Fang Yuan look sideways. This little girl is not completely a useless vase. However, such an answer. Fang Yuan glanced at the killing knight who was silent and looking at him. This doesn't seem to be the correct answer. Chapter 34 Soul Ring Concept, Mutual Complementation. What kind of soul master is a qualified soul master? What kind of soul master can be called a truly powerful one? Fang Yuan pondered carefully, and the figures of those famous guys in Douluo kept appearing in his mind. What common characteristics do they have? Top level martial souls, 100,000 year soul rings, soul bone sets, and even martial soul fusion skills. In a trance, Fang Yuan suddenly realized that the answers to these two questions are actually the same. A truly powerful person must be considered a qualified soul master, and a qualified soul master must also be considered a strong person. Soul power. Fang Yuan spit out two words. A simple, ordinary answer. But it was such an answer that made the killing knight look satisfied. Yes, the answer is very simple. That is soul power. In fact, as long as the level reaches level 90, soul masters are not divided into control system and agility attack system, because each of them has these powers. Detection means instant burst, attribute amplification, large scale control, and even healing means. The several soul rings and soul bones of the titled Douluo have already turned them into qualified and comprehensive soul masters. Look, which titled Douluo on the mainland is not independent? Which titled Douluo needs so-called teammates and so-called teams? But if you blindly pursue soul power improvement, then the soul master will inevitably lack offensive soul skills in the early stage, which will lead to the weakness of his own offensive means. Nightingale retorted in a low voice, but she was stuck halfway through her words. Yes, if ordinary people only focus on soul power improvement and soul skills that increase attributes, but lack offensive means, their combat effectiveness will inevitably be limited. But is Fang Yuan an ordinary person? The killing skills that are like art are the most perfect offensive soul skills. Even Nightingale had no doubt that Fang Yuan could create his own soul skills. At that time, would Fang Yuan still worry about not having enough soul skills? It seems that the messenger also understands. The killing knight said calmly, geniuses are different from mediocre people. Even if some mediocre people have good brains and understand that their potential is limited, they will start to strive for excellence in a certain thing to make up for the gap in their qualifications. Such people may be able to grow into soul saints or even soul Douluo. Those who are lucky and have great opportunities may indeed grow into titled Douluo. But if you want to make achievements among titled Douluo, it is impossible. Just like me, I have been mediocre all my life, but I have only reached the level of 95. It is as difficult as ascending to heaven to go further. The killing knight shook his head with emotion, but what he said made Fang Yuan frown. 95. This is 95. Even among titled Douluo, 95 is also a leader, even if it is only one step away from Super Douluo. How come a titled Douluo who cannot break through in his entire life is like a loser in your mouth? If you say this to others, I don't know how many people will commit suicide out of shame. But the Holy Sun is different. The killing knight didn't care about Fang Yuan's expression, but looked at Fang Yuan and said word by word, the Holy Sun's aptitude is the most outstanding existence I have ever seen in my life. Although this is a bit offensive, I have to admit that even the king is not as good as the Holy Sun in terms of aptitude. And the killing knight used his soul power to condense into a sound line and transmitted it to Fang Yuan. If I'm not mistaken, the Holy Sun should have twin martial spirits. Fang Yuan's pupils shrank, and he looked at the killing knight in astonishment. Don't be surprised, Holy Sun. Don't forget, we have worked together for several years. Seeing Fang Yuan's expression, the killing knight chuckled and said, I discovered it several times when I was on a mission. You know, there are no weird vine branches in the killing city. Although I don't know what your second martial soul is, but with full innate soul power, your second martial soul must be good. And the power of twin martial souls is not only that they can have 9 more soul rings than ordinary people, but the 9 soul rings that can surpass the age are the key. The reason why soul rings and soul skills are strong is that the age of the soul rings is high enough The soul skills of a 1000-year soul ring must be more powerful than those of a 100-year soul ring, and those of 10,000 years must be stronger than those of 1,000 years. Since Holy Sun has twin martial souls, the soul ring of the second martial soul must be of top configuration, and the worst should be 80 or 90,000 years. So, I hope that the third soul ring of the Holy Sun will choose an auxiliary type, or like the second soul ring, choose an amplification type soul ring. Not only that, I even hope that all the soul rings of the Holy Sun's entire first martial soul will develop in this direction. The Killing Knight stared at Fang Yuan and excitedly told his idea. He looked so excited that it seemed as if the person he was talking about was not Fang Yuan, but himself. In this way, not only can the excellent characteristics of the Holy Sun's combat skills be brought into play to the maximum extent, but also sufficient preparations can be made for the growth of the Holy Sun's second martial soul. When the Holy Sun starts to add soul rings to the second martial soul, all of them will be offensive soul skills of 80,000 to 90,000 years, or even 100,000 years. Who can stop them at that time? Hiss. Fang Yuan sucked in a breath of cold air. He completely understood what the Killing Knight meant. He wanted to directly sacrifice the power of the first martial soul and assist the second martial soul in all aspects. But the Killing Knight changed the subject. Everything has its pros and cons. This approach will certainly allow the Holy Sun to have absolutely invincible power in the future, but in the middle and late stages, the Holy Sun may fall into a period of weakness. The soul skills brought by the high-year soul ring are extremely powerful, and if you simply want to rely on combat skills to smooth them out, the difficulty may be a little high. Therefore, Holy Sun, if you agree to take the path I mentioned during the period from Soul Saint to Soul Douluo, I hope that the Holy Sun can be a little low-key, concentrate on cultivating soul power, and improve the level. Although this was excellent and euphemistic, Fang Yuan also understood what the Killing Knight meant. It was nothing more than asking him to keep his tail between his legs after Soul Saint developed a title Douluo, and then soar into the sky. However, in the middle and late stages, will Fang Yuan really fall into a weak state? Don't forget, Fang Yuan's first martial soul is the Sharingan. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 35 Catered Evil. The Sharingan, the core of the main plot of the 5-village fight, is naturally unquestionable in its power. As the basis of the Sage's Eye, the Sharingan has a very special hidden power in addition to the 3 powers of insight, copying, and confusion. That is the Manjaki Sharingan above the 3 Magatama Sharingan. The Manjaki Sharingan is a high-level form of the Sharingan. Each Manjaki Sharingan hides a unique pupil technique, which is ever-changing and unpredictable, so it is named Manjaki. In the 5-village fight, the way to open the Manjaki Sharingan is through intense emotional stimulation. After coming to this world, although Fang Yuan did not know how to open the Manjaki, the continuous promotion of Magatama made him have some knowledge of the promotion of the Sharingan. Moreover, since completing the 100th killing field, Fang Yuan felt that his eyes had been strengthened to a certain extent, as if he was about to break through to another level. For that layer of boundary, it was just a matter of time. Maybe when he gets the God of Killing domain, his eyes will be able to evolve into kaleidoscopes naturally? Fang Yuan guessed in his heart, and nodded to the Killing Knight. Then do as the captain said. The choice of this soul beast depends on the captain. Alright. Seeing that Fang Yuan was willing to listen to his opinion, the Killing Knight was overjoyed and entered the forest again. At this moment, Fang Yuan agreed with the Killing Knight's opinion, just like Sanjay was willing to worship Uzaya Gang as his master. This feeling is very wonderful. A top genius is willing to listen to his opinions and adopt his methods. That kind of recognition is unimaginable. The Killing Knight was full of energy, and his soul power was running, returning to the sky above the Stardao Great Forest. The familiar soul power aura was released again. Those soul beasts who thought they had escaped a disaster before they had time to breathe a sigh of relief, felt this aura again, and were immediately frightened like frightened birds. What is this madman doing lying on the ground? What is a titled Douluo doing in this outer area? countless soul beasts howled in their hearts, but there was nothing they could do. They could only hope that this guy would leave quickly and pray that they would not be targeted by him. However, it seemed that, because of the repeated arrogant actions of the killing knight, a soul beast finally fell into a state of anger. With a low roar, a black shadow jumped up from the jungle. In the surprised eyes of the killing knight, a soul beast actually took the initiative to attack him. A mere 1000-year soul beast dares to take the initiative to attack me. The killing knight was shocked and angry, but when he saw the attacker's appearance clearly, he was stunned. This guy is... Fang Yuan sat cross-legged, waiting for the soul beast to arrive. Nightingale on the side looked at Fang Yuan, who closed his eyes to rest and took the initiative to stand up and observe the situation around him to prevent any sneak attackers from appearing and harassing Fang Yuan. In fact, this kind of protection is unnecessary. Fang Yuan is surrounded by the aura left by the Slaughter Knight and the residual aura of the titled Douluo. Not all soul beasts dare to come. If a soul beast really dares to come and attack, let alone guard, they probably won't even have room to resist and will be torn to pieces. However, Nightingale is so eager that Fang Yuan will naturally not stop. Since he was accepted as an apprentice by the King of Slaughter, this little girl has taken the initiative to complete the transformation of her identity from a former colleague to a maid. Judging from Nightingale's attitude towards her now, even if Fang Yuan has any needs, Nightingale will probably devote herself to him directly. Fang Yuan sat cross-legged and quietly. This time, the Slaughter Knight seemed to take a little longer. He didn't come back for more than half an hour. But the aura of the title Douluo in the air was getting stronger and stronger. Could it be that the captain encountered some powerful soul beast and got into a battle? Fang Yuan felt the rising soul power aura of the Slaughter Knight in the air and couldn't help but guess in his heart. However, as a level 95 title Douluo, the Slaughter Knight should have absolute suppression over the soul beasts in the outer areas of the Douluo Continent. How could he be in a tough fight? Could it be that he encountered a 100,000-year-old soul beast like the Titan giant ape? That shouldn't be the case. If it was a 100,000-year-old soul beast, the movement shouldn't be so small. Fang Yuan frowned slightly, suddenly raised his head, and looked to the right side of the bush. In his perception, there were several auras approaching here rapidly. Those auras were not strong. Most of them were at the level of Soul Master, and there was only one at the level of Soul Sect at level 40. Among them, the aura of Mou Great Soul Master was relatively chaotic, and it fluctuated. Interesting. Are you coming for me? Fang Yuan stood up. Nightingale beside him was still a little silly, as if she didn't know what happened. What's wrong, holy son? You should practice your soul power, little Nightingale, otherwise you probably won't know when your holy son died. Prepare to meet the enemy. Fang Yuan opened and closed his eyes, and the scarlet Sharingan quietly opened. His powerful insight allowed him to clearly see everything that happened in the bushes. It was a pursuit battle, and several men in black were chasing a graceful figure. The appearance of those men in black was exactly the same as what Fang Yuan had encountered before, and they died at the hands of the killing knight. However, the leader this time was a little special. The level 40 soul power was not the point. The figure wrapped in black clothes was extremely hot, and almost at the first sight, it brought Fang Yuan an extremely strong visual impact. The extremely slender waist was so slender that it made people a little worried. Such a thin branch could not support the pair of fruits. The long legs wrapped in tight black clothes have a touch of flesh, but they are more tempting than the slender legs of those girls. Fang Yuan couldn't help but take a few more glances, and then looked at Nightingale beside him, and let out a light sigh. Although the skin is equally white, the waist is equally slender, and the legs are equally slender, there is inevitably a little difference. Fang Yuan's sight shifted from the extremely evil man in black to the front, the figure being chased by several men in black. Compared with the men in black, the figure looked a little embarrassed. The tight clothes had been damaged in many places, revealing the white skin with bloodstains. Although the figure was not as exaggerated as the leader just now, it also had infinite potential. The dark hair fluttered as she ran, and the pair of cats on her head added a bit of different flavor to her. Cat ear hair accessories, huge evil, and they are people from the Douluo Empire. Fang Yuan's face was a little strange, and he seemed to have guessed the identities of the visitors. Thanks to Hosaya Fang for the reward of 1500 starting coins. Thank you. Chapter 36. I do good deeds every day, so I deserve this kind of thing. My dear sister, are you still struggling? In the bushes, the leader of the evil looked at the fleeing figure in front of him, with a trace of helplessness and apology in his eyes. Your cowardly Fiancé has already run away. He doesn't even have the courage to face the cruel competition. You are still thinking of looking for him? Go back with your sister. Daimyubei's escape means that he has given up the competition for the throne. The head of the family will definitely give you a break. Zhu Zuking, who was being chased, pursed her lips and continued to run and flee in the bushes. Although her delicate body was covered with scars and almost reached her limit, her bright eyes were filled with unparalleled determination. Of course, she knew that it was almost hopeless for her to escape and find Daimyubei this time, but the future of staying in Xingluo was not what she wanted at all. Without Daimyubei, her fate would only become worse. The head of the family would definitely give her to those princes and nobles as a concubine or a tool for marriage. The women of the Zhu family were born with such a fate, but Zhu Zuking was a strong-willed person, so how could she be willing? Even if there was only a glimmer of hope, she would grab it. Zhu Zuking gritted her teeth and rushed forward. Zhu Zuan behind her sighed softly, with a flash of envy and a hint of sadness in her eyes. For her sister's choice, she also wanted to do the same, but as a member of the Zhu family, her fate was already determined at birth. How difficult is it to reverse her fate? Run away, run faster, escape from here. Zhu Zuan murmured in her heart, and the speed of pursuit did not increase, but decreased. The several black-clothed people following behind were puzzled, but Zhu Zuan slowed down, so they naturally could not chase after Zhu Zuan. One of them wanted to step forward and ask. After all, the head of the family not only gave Zhu Zuan an order to bring back Zhu Zuking, but also gave them this order: if you can't bring it back. When they thought of the punishment of the head of the family, the several black-clothed people shuddered. Several people looked at each other and were about to ask Zhu Zuan, "Miss, why are you slowing down?" Before the words were completely spoken, a heart-pounding breath suddenly burst out in the air. Whether it was the rushing Zhu Zuking or Zhu Zuan and the men in black, their faces turned pale at this moment, and they were almost pressed down by this soul power and fell off the branches. After a few seconds, Zhu Zuan took a few deep breaths and finally caught her breath under this pressure. She looked at the place where the breath burst out, and she was surprised and a little relieved. She couldn't just tell the law enforcement team at home that she wanted to let Zhu Zuking go. Fortunately, this power came in time. Zhu Zuan frowned, glanced at the black-clothed man who had just spoken, and said in a deep voice, "This aura is even stronger than that of the patriarch. At least he is a Soul Douluo level expert. We are making such a noise, it will definitely disturb this expert if it makes him unhappy. I deserve to die. I deserve to die." The black-clothed man immediately knelt on the ground and kowtowed repeatedly. The other black-clothed men around were also nervous, with cold sweat on their foreheads. They thought that the young lady had outstanding soul power and a keen sense of smell and could detect the aura of the strong in time. Otherwise, once the unknown strong man was angered. Don't worry, Zhu Zuking is seriously injured, and she will definitely not be able to run far. We can't rush to chase her slowly, otherwise, if we accidentally anger that strong man. The young lady is right. Fortunately, the young lady is here. Don't worry, don't rush, let's take our time, take our time. The fleeing Zhu Zuking also felt a horrified aura, and also found that the speed of the pursuers behind her dropped sharply. She only had the strength of a great soul master, and under such a horrified aura, her delicate little face had already turned pale. But at this moment, she had no choice. If she stopped, she would definitely be taken back by them. She couldn't go back. Absolutely not. Zhu Zuking gritted her teeth and continued to run, but her injuries were too severe. In addition, she was affected by the vast soul power, and Zhu Zuking felt her head was dizzy. After running a few steps, she stumbled and was about to fall to the ground. I didn't expect that I would encounter a hero saving a beauty. A slightly surprised voice sounded in Zhu Zuking's ears. Zhu Zuking, who was almost in close contact with the ground, felt that she fell into a strong embrace. The feeling of restraint came from the waist, and the guy holding her turned over and jumped, landing steadily on the ground. "Hurry, run," ZHU Zuking said weakly. When she was hugged by Fang Yuan, coupled with her weak body, she could only see Fang Yuan's profile. Resolute, handsome, and a little immature. This is a boy of about the same age as her. The joy of surviving the catastrophe was gone in an instant. How could a boy of her age escape the pursuit of her sister? "Put me down quickly. The people chasing me are several soul sect soul lords. Leave here quickly, and don't get implicated. I said it was a hero saving a beauty. How can I leave?" Fang Yuan snorted, and took ZHU Zuking into his arms, from hugging to hugging. After 11 years of traveling through time, I thought it would be a protagonist start with long ocean hugging left and right, but these 11 years have been thrilling and treading on thin ice. Not to mention meeting a few beautiful sisters with names and surnames in the original book to open a harem. My life almost died several times. Fang Yuan has never been a gentleman. When he was in the city of slaughter, he was too young, and didn't have the conditions. Now he has the conditions and he happened to meet him. How can Fang Yuan miss it? Feeling ZHU Zuking close to him in his arms, Fang Yuan showed a trace of emotion on his face. God is indeed kind-hearted. For 11 years, I have been doing good deeds every day. It is what I deserve to encounter such a thing. Holy Sun. Nightingale followed up breathlessly, and was slightly stunned when she saw ZHU Zuking in Fang Yuan's arms. Wasn't he attacked, and ready to fight? How come there is a woman in his arms in the blink of an eye? Nightingale looked at Fang Yuan hugging the evil without any hesitation, and the corners of her mouth twitched. She knew that Fang Yuan was a pervert. When they were still working together in the slaughter city, Fang Yuan would touch her thigh from time to time and took advantage of her. It's just that Fang Yuan has never touched those free women in the slaughter city, which made Nightingale think that Fang Yuan is actually a gentleman and just played with her. Now it seems this guy's actually a big pervert. Chapter 37 titled Douluo. If Fang Yuan knew what Nightingale was thinking, he would definitely give her a blow without hesitation. What truth are you talking about? Looking at Fang Yuan holding ZHU Zuking, Nightingale complained in her heart, but she didn't have much opinion on such a move. After all, in the city of slaughter, which fallen person doesn't look like this? Desire, killing, venting, and falling. These things are the themes of the city of slaughter. There are even some special systems in the city of slaughter. For example, in order to encourage the fallen to actively participate in the hell-killing field, the officials of the city of slaughter will also provide various high-quality services for the contestants. Among them, there is naturally a process of searching for some women to enjoy the fallen. As a killing messenger, Nightingale is naturally accustomed to such things. Moreover, Fang Yuan is the son of God, the man who will become the king of slaughter in the future. It is an honor and a glory to be the woman of the king of slaughter. Unfortunately, although she is a killing messenger, the king of slaughter has never baptized her. Nightingale was still wondering what the king meant until the king of slaughter assigned her to Fang Yuan and made Fang Yuan the holy son. She finally understood. Besides, I seem to understand a little bit why the holy sun doesn't hate me, but doesn't look for me. Nightingale stared at the great evil of ZHU Zuking in Fang Yuan's arms, and then looked down at her own. A pair of slender hands grasped the body of the Jasper snake, and it was in pain and spit out its tongue. Boy, don't meddle in other people's business. This is the person our Douluo ZHU family wants. Boy, don't make trouble for yourself. Hand him over quickly. The man in black soon caught up. Looking at Fang Yuan holding ZHU Zuking in his arms, ZHU Zuan frowned slightly, and before she could speak, the man in black beside her had already scolded her. Fang Yuan chuckled and ignored the men in black. Instead, he held ZHU Zuking in his arms and said, "Miss, you seem to be seriously injured." ZHU Zuking's face turned pale because of the injury, but she looked at Fang Yuan with a strange look. This guy must be crazy. Although the ZHU family doesn't have a title Douluo, it is still a top family in the entire continent. This guy can face the ZHU family without changing his expression. Is he really not afraid, or is he just a young boy who doesn't know how powerful the ZHU family is? Run quickly. I think you are about level 30. Just take your people away, and they won't make things difficult for you. I'm half a wanted criminal. If you save me, you will definitely be implicated. By then, not only the ZHU family, but even the entire Douluo Empire will find trouble with you. ZHU Zhu King spoke softly, struggling to stand up from Fang Yuan's arms, but found that she couldn't get rid of Fang Yuan's arms at all. Who said I came to save you? What? Didn't you just say that you were a hero saving a beautiful woman? Why now? Under ZHU Zhu King's stunned eyes, Fang Yuan condensed his soul power in his hands and turned it into soul power ropes, directly binding ZHU Zhu King's hands and feet. Under the binding of the soul power ropes, ZHU Zhu King's curvy figure was perfectly highlighted. Fang Yuan immediately showed a satisfied look and nodded. But such a move, in the eyes of the people of Douluo, became a move of submission. You are smart. Hand over that woman. Very good. You have made a contribution by assisting our ZHU family. Here is 1,000 gold soul coins, which is your reward. Hand over that woman to us. What's more, one of the men in black took out a purse from his soul guide and threw it towards Fang Yuan. The purse formed an arc in the air, but when it was about to touch Fang Yuan, it was slapped away by a scarlet shadow. It was Nightingale. You dare to insult the Holy Sun, you are courting death. Nightingale's face was cold, and a pair of blood-red short blades appeared when she waved her hands. You are looking for death. Where did you come from, little girl and young boy? Since you are unwilling to hand over that woman, then go to hell. The purse was overturned, which was undoubtedly a slap in the face of the black-clothed man in public. The black-clothed men were immediately furious, and one by one they were directly possessed by their spirits. The spirits of several people were all netherworld spirit cats. After the possession, each of them showed sharp teeth. Only ZHU Zuan stood there, with an uncertain expression. Her eyes fell on Fang Yuan. At such a young age, he has a spirit power of level 30. Could this kid be the core child of a major force? And, the maid-like guide just now said, Holy Sun? But, it seems that the only one who can use the title of Holy Sun in the world today is the Spirit Hall, right? But as far as she knows, isn't there only a holy woman in the Spirit Hall today, but no Holy Sun? Spirit possession. A light shout sounded, and a cold murderous intent burst out, forcibly pulling ZHU Zuan's thoughts back. She looked up at Nightingale, and suddenly opened her mouth wide, her face full of disbelief. Although the appearance of Nightingale under the possession of the martial spirit did not change much, except that the teeth in her mouth became slightly sharper, the cold murderous aura emanating from her body almost suffocated ZHU Zuan and others. Obviously, this maid is just a great soul master with 2 soul rings. Obviously, she looks only 12 or 13 years old. But, this murderous aura, this breath. Evil soul master? A term suddenly floated into ZHU Zuan's mind. Yes, at this age, there is such murderous aura, and only those evil soul masters in the world can be found in the world. What? It's an evil soul master. No wonder I felt as if I was in a sea of blood and corpses when facing this little girl. I don't know how many people have been killed by this little girl. Everyone must kill the evil soul master. Kill. Second soul skill, claw strike. Several men in black also jumped up and attacked Nightingale. In the distance, the bound ZHU Zhu King's face turned pale with fear. She looked at Fang Yuan beside her with some shock. Are you also an evil soul master? Evil soul master? Fang Yuan pondered for a moment and shook his head. I'm not an evil soul master. Son of God. You have found your 3rd soul ring. It's a big treasure. Ha 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 ha. A loud laugh echoed in the air, and along with the magnificent pressure of the 95th level titled Douluo, the slaughter knight descended from the sky, and the whistling soul power almost rendered the entire sky red. The irresistible momentum pressed down from the sky, and the black-clothed men turned pale one by one, and were directly crushed to the ground by this pressure. ZHU Zuan's face changed drastically, and she looked at the sky in disbelief. It's the strong man who just released the pressure. ZHU Zuan's face was extremely shocked, and the face covered by the mask was full of disbelief. She raised her head with all her strength, and happened to see the slaughter knight holding a pitch-black giant bear in his hand, falling in front of Fang Yuan, full of respect. Yellow, yellow, purple, purple, black, 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 black. 9 perfectly matched soul rings were suspended on his body with infinite power. Titled Douluo. Chapter 38 4000 Years of Dark Gold Terror Claw Bear. Titled Douluo, the most powerful fighting force on Douluo Continent. Not only can they form an army by themselves, but the strongest among them even have the terrifying power to destroy a city by themselves. Why can the spirit hall be on par with the two empires, and even suppress them? That is because there are several titled Douluo in the spirit hall. There are only a handful of titled Douluo in the whole continent. On weekdays, those strong men are almost invisible. But at this moment, there is actually a titled Douluo who appeared in front of him. Looking at the 9 shining soul rings on the killing knight, the vast pressure is suffocating. All the black-clothed people present have their pupils contracted, their faces pale, and they are extremely shocked. Titled Douluo. Zhu Zuan was so overwhelmed by the pressure of the killing knight that she could not stand steadily. She could only half kneel on the ground and look at it helplessly. But when she saw it clearly, the astonishment on her face became more and more intense. The killing knight was dressed in black, with a strong and murderous aura, and was extremely powerful. Compared with him, Nightingale's murderous aura was nothing compared to his. Coupled with the vast soul power, the killing knight suddenly became the focus of everyone in the audience. Even the giant bear soul beast that was caught in his hand and unconscious was subconsciously ignored by everyone. But the next moment, the titled Douluo, who was extremely powerful and magnificent in the eyes of everyone, actually laughed and saluted Fang Yuan, and even put the soul beast in front of Fang Yuan in a flattering way. Holy sun, look. The killing knight laughed and held the soul beast in his hand in front of Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan stared curiously, wondering what kind of soul beast could make the killing knight so happy. This was obviously a bear soul beast, huge in size and well developed in muscles. However, the hair of this giant bear was different from that of ordinary bear soul beasts. Its hair was dark golden. However, what really attracted people's attention was the bear's claws. The bear's claws are extremely huge, and its sharp hooked toes are like fine steel, enough to tear apart all creatures in front of it. This is Dark Gold Terror Claw Bear. Fang Yuan immediately recognized this terrifying soul beast that is comparable to a dragon, and has the title of Earth Terror. The Dark Gold Terror Claw Bear is one of the top soul beasts in the soul beast world. Its golden hair and indestructible claws make it a coexistence of defense and attack. Its powerful racial attribute bonus makes it have no natural enemies. Even a real dragon cannot take advantage of them. In fact, as long as it can successfully grow to adulthood, even a 10,000-year-old Dark Gold Terror Claw Bear will have a terrifying combat power that can rival a 100,000-year-old soul beast. No wonder Fang Yuan felt the breath of the killing knight's battle just now. It turned out that he encountered this guy. Hahaha, what Saint Sun said is right. This is a Dark Gold Terror Claw Bear. The killing knight laughed and said, and this is a Dark Gold Terror Claw Bear that is about 4,000 years old. It is perfect for your third soul ring, Saint Sun. This beast is also a hot-tempered master. It was hiding in the depths of the jungle, and I couldn't find it. I didn't expect that under my soul power surge. It actually jumped out and took the initiative to attack and kill me. Saint Sun, quickly make up for it and absorb the soul ring. With this 4,000-year-old Dark Gold Terror Claw Bear, your strength will definitely increase greatly. Originally, I just wanted an auxiliary soul ring, but I didn't expect to encounter such a big treasure. The Dark Gold Terror Claw Bear is top-notch in both attack and defense. Such a top-grade soul ring, Fang Yuan naturally can't miss it. What? You said the auxiliary soul ring that was originally agreed upon. Plans can't keep up with changes. This Dark Gold Terror Claw Bear is given to you. Do you want to absorb it? Thank you for troubling me, Captain. This Dark Gold Terror Claw Bear is extremely ferocious. It must have taken a lot of effort for the captain to capture it this time. Fang Yuan shifted his gaze from the Dark Gold Terror Claw Bear, glanced at Zhu Zuan and others, and smiled at the killing knight. But Captain, this Dark Gold Terror Claw Bear is already unconscious and can be killed at any time. Why don't we entertain these uninvited guests first? Oh. The killing knight turned around and faced Zhu Zuan and others. With his eyes narrowed, the aura of the title Douluo was released without reservation at this moment. He naturally noticed Zhu Zuan and others early. To him, These little guys with only the strength of Soul Venerable and Soul Sect were just ants, and he could be slapped to death at any time. However, Fang Yuan did not speak, so how could he interfere? Under the terrifying pressure of the title Douluo, Zhu Zuan was directly pressed to the ground, and some of the men in black behind him were directly shocked and fainted. The Slaughter Knight did not take action directly, because he noticed the graceful woman who was bound by Fang Yuan behind him. It seems that the Holy Sun has some ideas, hehe. But judging from the blood, that little soul master seems to be very similar to this woman. Could they be sisters? She is not bad in figure, why not let the Holy Sun do it together? Lord Slaughter Knight. Nightingale retracted her martial soul and trotted back to Fang Yuan to help him watch Zhu's Yuking, who was bound by the tortoise shell. At the same time, she pointed to the money bag on the ground and reported, just now, these guys not only wanted to attack the Holy Sun, but also use coins to humiliate the Holy Sun. Oh. The Slaughter Knight's face sank, and the strong soul pressure increased again. Under such soul pressure, the unconscious black-clothed people were directly crushed and exploded to death. Blood splashed everywhere, and the smell of blood filled the air, touching Zhu Zuan's nasal cavity. The eldest lady from the Douluo Zhu family had already turned pale, and was almost scared silly. As the eldest daughter of the Douluo Zhu family, Zhu Zuan has naturally seen all kinds of scenes, and she has naturally seen a lot of these bloody scenes, but she has never experienced them in person. Feeling the sight projected by the killing knight, Zhu Zuan was frightened and spoke hurriedly. "Crown, your majesty, I'm Zhu Zuan, the eldest daughter of the Douluo Zhu family. I came here purely to capture our Zhu family fugitives. I definitely have no intention of conflicting with your majesty. Douluo Zhu family?" The soul power of the killing knight stagnated, and Zhu Zuan's face was happy, but the next second, a stronger soul power was like a mountain collapsing, pressing towards her. "Are you threatening me? Don't say it's the Douluo Zhu family. Even if you are from the Douluo royal family, or someone from the Day family, you dare not talk to me like this." Under the soul power crushing, all the black-clothed people present, except Zhu Zuan, were crushed into blood foam in an instant. Although Zhu Zuan did not die, she was also suppressed by this soul power and her eyes rolled back, and she fainted directly. Chapter 39. Tie all the Zhu sisters back home. The air around seemed to become sticky under the pressure of the soul power of the killing knight. It was not until Fang Yuan waved his hand that the killing knight stopped. "We are here to obtain soul rings. Why are we so murderous? After all, they are members of the Douluo Zhu family. Our killing city cooperates with the Douluo Empire every year, so we should give them face. The Holy Sun is right. I was not thoughtful enough." The killing knight smiled at Fang Yuan, then turned to Nightingale and said, "Tie up the leader as well. Since the Holy Sun has spoken, let her live. But the death penalty can be avoided, but the living crime cannot be escaped. This leader will be captured and made a maid for the Holy Sun in the future." Before Fang Yuan could react, Nightingale had already stepped forward and tied up Zhu Zuan skillfully. Well, the binding method was learned from Fang Yuan, and it was exactly the same as that on Zhu's Yuking. That special binding method highlighted Zhu Zuan's figure to the fullest. Well, this eldest daughter of the Zhu family is more evil than the younger sister Zhu's Yuking. Although Fang Yuan was a little confused about the killing knight's actions, but these sisters who came to his door, well, today this saint will act like a dandy boy. Just act like a chivalrous man, and punish evil and promote good. It is a serious crime to offend this saint. Little Nightingale, put them all in the carriage. After the saint has absorbed this soul ring, I will deal with these two evil people from the Zhu family. Yes, saint. Nightingale rolled her eyes helplessly. While she was feeling Fang Yuan's shamelessness in her heart, her hands were quick. After watching Nightingale take out the carriage from the soul guide and take all the sisters and flowers of Zhu, Fang Yuan also turned his head and looked at the killing knight who was winking at him. The Holy Sun has good taste. The Zhu sisters are both good looking and beautiful, and they don't disappoint the Holy Sun. Actually, I only want the younger sister. Hey, what nonsense are you talking about? The Holy Sun, how can we not take these sisters who are delivered to our door? The killing knight chuckled, revealing a smile that every man could understand. The Holy Sun, how can we miss this blessing of having 2 wives? Besides, if the Holy Sun doesn't take the elder sister as well, and lets her go back, the eldest daughter will surely exaggerate and complain to the head of the family. Wouldn't that be asking for trouble? Although the Holy Sun and I are not afraid of the ZHU family, the ZHU family is an exclusive marriage clan of the Xingluo royal family. If the people of the ZHU family whisper in the ear of the Day family and reduce the annual resources of our killing city by a few percent. Fang Yuan's expression suddenly became serious. Captain is right. Fang Yuan was not thoughtful enough. No, although you are the saint's son, you are still young and inexperienced. It is normal that you did not think things through. Captain is not only powerful, but also has a rough but meticulous way of handling things. It is indeed worth learning from for us younger generations. You are too flattering. You are too polite. The two looked at each other and laughed. Okay, Saint Son, absorb the soul ring quickly. The 4,000-year-old dark gold terror claw bear is a top soul beast. Okay. There was no need to say more polite words. The beauty was already in hand. Now absorbing the soul ring was the key. To be honest, he was also very curious about the soul skills that the dark gold terror claw bear could produce. Fang Yuan took out a sharp blade from the Ouroboros bracelet and walked to the unconscious dark gold terror claw bear. The dark gold terror claw bear had a very thick skin. The golden fur gave them extremely strong defense. Although they were in a coma, the tenacious defense ability still made Fang Yuan waste a lot of time. Blood splattered, and a circle of deep purple soul rings slowly floated out, hovering above the corpse of the dark gold terror claw bear. Fang Yuan took a deep breath, quietly opened his Sharingan, and with a thought, the circle of deep purple 1,000-year soul rings was immediately put on his body. But this was a completely different feeling from when he absorbed the second soul ring. Obviously, both soul rings were 1,000-year-old, although there was a difference of 2,000 or 3,000 years, but the feeling these 2 soul rings gave Fang Yuan was completely different. When absorbing the second soul ring, Fang Yuan did not feel a trace of pressure, or even felt anything, and it was over. Most of the third soul rings of ordinary people are more than 1,000 years old, which is the strength of Fang Yuan's second soul ring, but the age of this soul ring is as high as 4,000 years. At this moment, Fang Yuan could clearly feel a thick warm current flowing in his meridians. That soul power was extremely overbearing, like a turbulent flood, washing Fang Yuan's meridians. Fortunately, Fang Yuan's own physical fitness was honed in the slaughter city, and was strong enough. Although the soul power of the dark gold terror claw bear was overbearing, Fang Yuan was able to contain it in the absence of spiritual residue within 10,000 years. The scarlet Sharingan was spinning, and the 3 Megatama were even stained with a layer of light gold at this moment. The dark purple soul ring gradually stabilized in Fang Yuan's body. The soul power that had not been completely exhausted after breaking through level 30 burst out again at this moment. Waves of soul power continued to wash over Fang Yuan's body, and the level limit opened by the dark gold terror claw bear's soul ring was madly broken at this moment. Level 34. Level 37. Level 39. The slaughter knight on the side looked at Fang Yuan, whose level was soaring, and nodded repeatedly. Although it was normal to have a third ring of 1,000 years, there were not many people in the history of Douluo Continent who had a third ring of 4,000 years, right? Moreover, this was the soul ring of the dark gold terror claw bear. Level 39. This can be regarded as the consumption of all the soul power accumulated in the body of the Holy Sun for many years, and he is only one step away from level 40. TSK, a level 40 soul master at the age of 11. It's really annoying to compare yourself to others. The killing knight shook his head with emotion, thinking back to when he was 11 years old. He was just a great soul master in his 20s. But now Fang Yuan has left him far behind. Moreover, Fang Yuan still has a divine test. With such a growth rate, the Holy Sun will definitely have the opportunity to break through to the title Douluo before the age of 20. It is even possible to touch that level. The killing knight looked at Fang Yuan, his eyes shining, as if he had already seen Fang Yuan standing at the top in the future. Inexplicable excitement burst out from the killing knight's heart, as if the invincible person in the future was not Fang Yuan, but himself. In a trance, a glimmer of light flashed under the killing knight's eyelids. Wait, this is... The killing knight raised his eyebrows slightly, staring at Fang Yuan with a pair of eyes. Or rather, it was his right hand. Chapter 40, Dark Gold Terror Claw with Soulbone. In the sight of the slaughter knight, Fang Yuan's right hand began to show some strange changes. Along with the absorption of the soul ring, Fang Yuan's right hand began to emit a bright dark gold light, and the bones of the entire palm began to grow larger, but the growth was not obvious. The bones of the 5 fingers widened at the top and narrowed at the bottom, and some of them were shaped like sharp blades. Is this an external soul bone? The only possibility for a soul bone to appear without absorbing soul rings is an external soul bone. External soul bones are a magical existence. They are special existences besides the 6 major types of soul bones. If the probability of ordinary soul bones appearing from soul beasts is 1 in 1,000, then the probability of external soul bones appearing is not even 1 in 10,000. The most critical thing is that the condition for absorbing external soul bones is to absorb the soul ring of the soul beast that dropped this soul bone. In other words, when Fang Yuan absorbed the soul ring of the dark gold terror claw bear just now, he also absorbed the external soul bone dropped by the dark gold terror claw bear. This luck is too good. The face of the slaughter knight was full of envy. He could care less about the 1,000-year-old dark gold terror claw bear soul ring, and even the 1,000-year-old dark gold terror claw bear soul bone. However, this is an external soul bone. In the Soul Master world, there is a ranking of the most precious things for Soul Masters, called the Soul Master Dream List. Among them, the external soul bone has always been ranked second on the Soul Master Dream List. It is second only to the first ranked 100,000-year soul ring, which is almost impossible to exist. And there is only one reason why it is so popular. That is, the external soul bone can evolve as the Soul Master's level increases. The Holy Son is really lucky. Not only can he get a soul ring like the dark gold terror claw bear, but he also has an external soul bone. The slaughter knight smacked his lips, his eyes full of desire and greed. To be honest, he was moved. The value of the external soul bone is unimaginable, not to mention that this is the external soul bone of the dark gold terror claw bear. The soul skills carried in it must be extremely powerful. Such a temptation, even a titled Douluo like him at level 95 couldn't help but be tempted. However, the killing knight still held back. Although the soul bone is good, the soul bones on his body are actually full. Although the external soul bone does not occupy the grid, this soul bone has been integrated with Fang Yuan after all. Only by absorbing the soul ring of the dark gold terror claw bear can the power of the external soul bone be exerted to the maximum extent. Even if he gets the soul bone without the blessing of the soul ring, it will always be a little worse. Besides, even if he has one more external soul bone, what can he do? He has been stuck at level 95 for more than 10 years. If he wants to break through the limit, it is not enough for an external soul bone. Instead of wasting it on himself, it is better to help Fang Yuan achieve success. Besides, Fang Yuan is the son of God. All kinds of situations overlapped, and finally let the killing knight let go of his greed. It seems that the soul power of this soul ring is too huge. Or maybe it was because Fang Yuan had too much accumulated soul power in his body, and at this moment, all of it was released, and he needed to adapt. This time, the soul ring absorption took nearly an hour. But Fang Yuan did not wake up completely. At this moment, his brows were furrowed, and veins on his forehead were throbbing, and cold sweat began to appear. A sharp pain came from the palm of his right hand. Although Fang Yuan did not know what happened, when he fell to the ground, he felt as if there were 10,000 needles piercing his right palm, trying to completely crush his palm bones. The severe pain hit Fang Yuan's mind. If it were an ordinary person, he would have fainted from such pain. But Fang Yuan said nothing, silently endured, relying on his willpower and perseverance to resist. To be honest, although this pain was severe, it was nothing compared to the 1 month he was imprisoned by emotion. How can the pain of the flesh be compared with the double destruction and torture of the spirit in the flesh? Exclamation mark. What a strong willpower. You are worthy of being the son of God. Such willpower made the killing knight sigh with emotion. He had absorbed soul bones before, so he naturally understood this kind of pain. Moreover, this was the soul bone of the dark gold terraclaw bear, and the pain he had to endure was probably far beyond the ordinary. However, Fang Yuan actually endured such pain. About an hour later, Fang Yuan finally woke up. Before the killing knight could ask curiously, Fang Yuan suddenly let out a low roar. With a puff, his right arm suddenly raised, and blood spurted from his 5 fingers. This is it. The killing knight opened his eyes wide. At this moment, 5 dark golden rays of light extended from the 5 fingers of Fang Yuan's right palm. These 5 rays of light were about 1 foot and 2 inches long, wide at the top and narrow at the bottom, like a blade, and the color was exactly the same as the soul bone of the dark gold terraclaw bear that the killing knight had seen before. The dark golden light rippled like water waves. The moment they appeared, the air unconsciously whistled slightly. Fang Yuan's entire right hand turned dark gold at this moment. The wounds at the fingertips quickly merged, making the fingers and the sharp blades look like one and the same. The 5 sharp blades were like an extension of his fingers. Then, the dark golden light suddenly rushed from his right palm in the opposite direction, along his right arm upwards, and in an instant it had spread throughout his body. It seemed that Fang Yuan was baptized by this layer of dark golden light. At the same time, Fang Yuan also opened his eyes, and the scarlet 3 Magatama Sharingan turned. The soul power subsided, and Fang Yuan subconsciously breathed a sigh of relief, and wanted to stand up with the help of the ground, but the dark golden claws at the fingertips of his right hand did not make any sound and quietly inserted into the ground. Fang Yuan subconsciously raised his hand, and pulled out the dark gold claw. Looking at the dark gold on his palm, his mind moved, and the sharp blade on his fingertips suddenly disappeared quietly like ice and snow melting. And his right hand also returned to normal, even the dark gold was contained in it. Only then did Fang Yuan breathe a sigh of relief. Holy Son, how do you feel? Not bad. Fang Yuan felt the situation in his body, and heard the question from the killing knight, and couldn't help but smile, and said with emotion, I didn't expect that this time I not only got a spirit ring, but also a spirit bone. It's all thanks to the captain's luck. Otherwise if I were to search for spirit beasts by myself, I'm afraid I would never encounter such a good thing in my life. Hahaha, Holy Son, you are joking. This is clearly your luck. What does it have to do with me? The killing knight laughed, and Fang Yuan was quite relieved to be able to speak like this. If it weren't for you, Holy Son, I'm afraid I wouldn't even be able to get out of the killing city. By the way, Holy Son, what are the spirit skills of your spirit rings and spirit bones? Chapter 41, Dark Gold Light Captures Sisters. The soul skill that the dark gold terraclaw bear's external soul bone brings to Fang Yuan is the exclusive skill of the dark gold terraclaw bear, dark gold terraclaw. It is almost exactly the same as the dark gold terraclaw that Huoyu Heo obtained in Douluo 2nd. This dark gold terraclaw not only has extremely strong attack power, but also can grow with the growth of the soul master. In Douluo 2nd, the dark gold terraclaw becomes more and more powerful as Huoyu Heo's cultivation improves, and even has the power of 100,000-year soul bone, and in the end it reaches the god level. The appearance of the right palm bone of the dark gold terraclaw is obviously a big surprise, but the soul ring Fang Yuan obtained is not weak either. His soul ring is not a direct offensive soul skill, nor a defensive soul skill, but a soul skill similar to empowerment and amplification. The third soul ring, Dark Gold Light. Enchanting the effect of Dark Gold Light for your own attack. The attack with Dark Gold Light will cause an additional 100% damage, and all attacks carry a 100% armor breaking effect. And with Fang Yuan's current soul power, he can even keep this soul skill activated for half an hour. That is to say, within half an hour, any attack from Fang Yuan will cause double damage, and his attack will have a 100% armor breaking effect. 100% armor breaking, that is real damage. In other words, during the time when Fang Yuan activates his third soul skill, he will no longer have the so-called absolute defense, the so-called indestructible. It's really worthy of being a dark gold terraclaw bear. Even a high level 10,000-year spirit ring may not have such a powerful spirit skill. The killing knight said with emotion. With the dark gold light and the dark gold terraclaw, the Holy Son can be said to have an indestructible ultimate attack. It's all thanks to the captain's good choice. No, by the way, the spirit ring has been absorbed. The Holy Son is preparing to There is still about a year before the first test. Besides, my spirit power has reached level 39. It shouldn't take long for our spirit power to break through to level 40. After thinking for a moment, Fang Yuan said in a deep voice, we still need to obtain spirit rings by then, so we won't go back in a short time. It should be so. The Killing Knight nodded in agreement. The reason why he came out this time was to assist the Holy Sun in obtaining spirit rings. How could he go back if he hadn't obtained the 4th spirit ring yet? But Holy Sun, we have a special identity. Although ordinary people can't see it, those strong men and clans are extremely sensitive to the characteristics of soul power. The Holy Sun's murderous aura has been restrained. Ordinary people can't see it, but once the old man and the girl of the messenger use soul power, they will definitely feel the bloody and evil aura in our soul power. Just like the girl from the ZHU family just now. By then, the world will definitely recognize our identity and cause us some trouble. The Killing Knight said in a deep voice. He didn't hate the world calling him an evil soul master, because he was originally an evil soul master, but the focus of this trip was for Fang Yuan. If he was crowned with the title of evil soul master, it would naturally be bad. Captain, don't worry. In the next trip, unless it is a life and death situation, the captain doesn't have to take action. Fang Yuan smiled and said, besides, I have a place in mind. Although the guys in that place are a bit eye-catching, their strength is not high, and they are absolutely no threat to us. Oh. The Killing Knight was a little curious. He originally thought that Fang Yuan would take this opportunity to go to the Spirit Hall. After all, Fang Yuan was a registered member of the Spirit Hall, so he would say such words. But from Fang Yuan's words, he was not going to the Spirit Hall. This made the Killing Knight a little curious, but he did not ask much. After all, Fang Yuan was the Holy Sun and the main body of this action. Wherever Fang Yuan wanted to go, he would follow. The two returned to the carriage. At this moment, Nightingale was guarding outside the carriage with a vigilant face. Seeing the two return, Nightingale couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief and called the Holy Sun with joy. Thank you for your hard work. Next, let the Holy Sun punish evil and promote good. Fang Yuan got into the carriage with a serious face. The Killing Knight behind him smiled and set up the carriage and asked loudly, Holy Sun, where are we going first? Let's go to Notting City first. The carriage was driving slowly on the small road. The soul ring had been obtained, and Fang Yuan and his party were no longer in a hurry. The Killing Knight drove the carriage, humming a little tune, and used his soul power to cover the entire carriage, ensuring that it was soundproof and could achieve a perfect shock absorption effect. In the carriage, the little Nightingale half knelt respectfully, holding the jade snake spitting out its tongue in her arms, and remained silent. Fang Yuan sat in the middle of the carriage, and in front of him lay the two sisters of the ZHU family who were bound by tortoise shells. ZHU Zuan was still in a coma at this moment, and although ZHU Zuking was awake, her pretty face was pale. She wanted to struggle, but she was bound, and could not move. Fang Yuan looked at ZHU Zuking with interest. Under the tortoise shell binding, the figures of the two women were really eye-catching. Please introduce yourself, the fugitive of the ZHU family? ZHU Zuking. ZHU Zuking pursed her lips, glanced at the unconscious ZHU Zuan beside her, hesitated for a moment, and finally lowered her head. Fugitive of the ZHU family. Escape from marriage? Yeah. I think so. Your ZHU family has such a tradition. Fang Yuan's words were full of undisguised contempt, but ZHU Zuking had no way to refute. As a member of the ZHU family, she knew better than anyone what kind of family the ZHU family was. No money and no power, no strong people to protect, and no military and political deepening. Although it is one of the big families of the Xingluo Empire, the reason why it can become a big family is entirely due to various marriages and the contributions and efforts of various children. To put it bluntly, their ZHU family is actually the asterisk of the Xingluo royal family and the major nobles. When she thought of her ridiculous family and her ridiculous fate, a sad smile appeared on ZHU Zuking's face. In fact, when she escaped from the ZHU family, she was ready to die, but she didn't expect that she would not die under the pursuit of her family, nor in the belly of a soul beast, but was captured by someone. When she thought of the tragic end she might suffer, a trace of despair appeared on ZHU Yuking's pretty face. She pursed her lips, and the soul power in her body was running, and she wanted to kill herself. However, before she could make any move, she heard Fang Yuan's tut-tut sound in her ear. ZHU family is really interesting. You, a great soul master fugitive, can actually run to the Xingdao Great Forest under the capture of the Soul Sect and the Soul Lord. Fang Yuan grabbed the unconscious ZHU Zuan, pinched her chin, and pulled off the mask on her face. A face that was 70% similar to ZHU Yuking, but more mature and seductive, was exposed to the air. It seems that the captor also hopes that you can escape. What? ZHU Yuking, who wanted to kill himself, suddenly froze and looked at ZHU Zuan in surprise. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 42 Master. ZHU Yuking was a little dazed. Her little head, which was in despair and wanted to commit suicide, seemed to be almost shut down by Fang Yuan's words. My sister didn't want to kill me, but deliberately wanted to let me run! Exclamation mark. How could it be? She was clearly chasing me, and she was so painstakingly chasing me all the way, and even injured me seriously. There were dozens of people chasing her, and the injuries left by ZHU Zuan on her body were still aching. ZHU Yuking kept explaining in her mind, but the more she explained, the more she understood. Fang Yuan was right. Her sister didn't want to catch her at all. The gap between the Soul Sect and the Great Soul Master seemed to be only a difference of 10 or 20 levels, but the gap was like the difference between the 3 Megatoma and the Kaleidoscope. It didn't seem much, but it was like a natural chasm. The victory of the 3 Megatoma over the Kaleidoscope was undoubtedly a joke, and the Great Soul Master wanted to escape from the hands of the Soul Sect, which was even more of a joke. Not to mention that it was not just her sister who came to chase, but a chasing team composed of dozens of Soul Masters and Soul Masters. And such a team was repeatedly thrown away by herself when chasing her, and suffered heavy casualties. Is this possible? ZHU Yuking's lips trembled. She looked at the unconscious ZHU Zuan, and felt her throat begin to sour and astringent, as if a knife had cut through it. Sister. She understood. The reason why she was able to escape here was purely because her sister also hoped that she could escape from that family and hope that she could grasp that glimmer of hope. But now, the two sisters have become prisoners at the same time. The evil Soul Master killed without blinking an eye. She saw the fate of those ZHU family law enforcers just now. At this moment, ZHU Yuking looked at Fang Yuan, who was about to lift ZHU Zuan's chin, and her delicate body trembled violently. No. ZHU Yuking raised her head, and her white neck was like a swan's neck. She looked at Fang Yuan and said hurriedly, She is the fiancée of the current eldest prince of the Xingluo Empire. If you touch her, the eldest prince will not let you go. Oh. Fang Yuan turned his head and looked at ZHU Yuking. You don't seem to understand your current situation. The fugitive lady of the ZHU family. This is the Xingdao Great Forest, not the Xingluo Empire. It doesn't make any difference whether an aunt or a young lady dies here, because no one will know. Fang Yuan grabbed ZHU Zuan's hair and lifted her delicate face. The light in the carriage was not bright, but the scarlet Sharingan looked unusually strange in this environment. His slender palm was against ZHU Zuan's white neck, and the light red soul power lightly covered it, like a sharp blade, slightly cutting the white skin. The bright red blood seeped out. ZHU Yuking's pupils shrank, twisting her bound body, and hurriedly crawled towards Fang Yuan. No. Please don't hurt my sister. ZHU Yuking's voice trembled, and she kept shaking her head and begging, I will give you whatever you want. Please don't hurt my sister, please. ZHU Zuan took so much trouble to send her away from Xingdao, just to let her escape from the family that was like a prison, just to let her escape the fate of being blocked. And at this moment, how could ZHU Yuking watch her sister, who thought about her in every way, die in front of her eyes? Please. Fang Yuan looked at ZHU Yuking, who was begging with tears in her eyes, and there was no softness in his heart. Instead, a trace of inexplicable pleasure flashed through his heart. This feeling is very strange, really very strange. It is not like the crazy desire venting in the killing city, nor is it like the love development that develops slowly and warms the body and mind. It is an extremely special feeling. Very intoxicating. Fang Yuan stopped his hand movements and gathered the soul power of his fingertips. It's not impossible for me to let your sister go. You said, as long as you can let my sister go, you can ask me for anything. Zhu Zuking gritted her teeth. Human life is at stake, and she is now Fang Yuan's prisoner. She doesn't think she has the capital to negotiate. The only chance is to catch Fang Yuan's slightly loose heart. Really? Fang Yuan put Zhu Zuan down, grinned, turned around and stretched out his hand, hooking Zhu Zuking's chin. You are a kind sister, with a good face and figure. How about this? If you are willing to be my little maid, serve me personally, and serve me, I will not kill your sister. How about it? Zhu Zuking wanted to break free from Fang Yuan's hand, but she didn't dare. She turned her head to look at the unconscious Zhu Zuan, looking at the wound on the white neck, her eyes full of determination, and nodded to Fang Yuan. So, you agree? Fang Yuan smiled. Zhu Zuking took a deep breath and nodded. She, Zhu Zuking, has always been a strong-willed person, otherwise she would not have left the family alone and fled here from the distant Xingluo. It would be fine if she didn't know, but now she knows how much effort her sister has made to help her and to enable her to escape from that family. She also wants to do something for her sister, even if it costs a huge price. In that case, I won't be polite. Fang Yuan laughed and looked at Zhu Zuking with bloodshot eyes. Since you are willing to be a slave, then relax your body and mind. I will use the special power of my martial soul to plant a spiritual seed in your sea of consciousness. Once this seed falls, your will succumb to me and let me control you. If you want to regret it, it's not too late now. Zhu Zuking's body trembled when she thought of the scene of being enslaved by the young man in front of her in the future and being a slave. There was a trace of fear in her eyes. But she had no choice. At this moment, she and Zhu Zuan were already prisoners. In fact, there was not much difference between agreeing and not agreeing. If she agreed, her sister could still escape. If she didn't agree, come on. Zhu Zuking's tears fell from the corners of her eyes and she looked at Fang Yuan. Their eyes met, and the scarlet 3 Megatama Sharingan kept turning, getting bigger and bigger in front of Zhu Zuking's eyes, and finally deeply in her mind, leaving an indelible mark. After a while, Zhu Zuking opened her eyes again, and found that the ropes on her hands and feet had been untied by Nightingale. She looked at Nightingale beside her in confusion, then looked at Zhu Zuan who was safe and sound, but still unconscious beside her, and finally looked at Fang Yuan who was in the main seat. Zhu Zuking knelt on the ground, and lowered her head to Fang Yuan, and her soft voice echoed in the carriage. Master, Master. Chapter 43 Taming. The Sharingan naturally does not have the power of the spirit seed. It was just something that Fang Yuan made up to bluff Zhu Zuking. However, Fang Yuan did not do nothing. He did leave something in Zhu Zuking's mind. That was the power of the 3 Megatama Sharingan, an illusion called mental suggestion. This illusion does not act directly on people. It does not make people enter the illusion space, nor does it confuse and control the 5 senses. It just exists quietly in people's minds, forming a kind of mental suggestion, or psychological suggestion. Pavlov believed that suggestion is the simplest and most typical conditioned reflex of human beings. From the perspective of psychological mechanism, it is a hypothesis affirmed by subjective will, which may not be based on facts, but because it has been affirmed subjectively, it will try its best to tend to this content psychologically. And Fang Yuan created this suggestion in Zhu Zuking's mind. You are Fang Yuan's maid. You are willing to contribute your body and mind to Fang Yuan and become his most loyal servant. If it were in an ordinary day, even if this hint appeared in Zhu Zuking's mind, it would not have much effect. However, when Zhu Zuking first changed into the hint in reality, the power of this hint would be increased exponentially. Get up. Looking at the obedient and respectful Zhu Zuking in front of him, Fang Yuan raised the corners of his mouth and said calmly, yes. Zhu Zuking stood up obediently, not daring to be disrespectful. She had a graceful figure and a tall stature. Although she was a little inferior to Zhu Zuan on the ground, she was already an extremely lovable little cat. Fang Yuan grabbed Zhu Zuking's slender arm and pulled her into his arms. Zhu Zuking's delicate body was stiff, but she did not dare to resist at all, allowing Fang Yuan to do whatever he wanted to her. When Fang Yuan had done enough, he slowly let go of the ragged Zhu Zuking and turned his head to look at Zhu Zuan on the ground. Since you're awake, don't pretend to be unconscious anymore. What? Zhu Zuking's cheeks flushed, her eyes full of shyness. If her sister was awake, wouldn't that mean that her actions with Fang Yuan just now were all seen by her sister? Fang Yuan's hand moved from Zhu Zuking's willow waist to her head, gently playing with the pair of soft cat ears. Although these cat ears are just headdresses on Zhu Zuking, Fang Yuan felt that they were really a pair of cat ears. Sister has already sacrificed herself to serve the devil for me. Are you just going to stand by and watch coldly? Zhu Zuan, who was lying on the ground, trembled slightly and finally sighed, opened her eyes, and looked at Fang Yuan. In fact, she had woken up a long time ago. Not long after Fang Yuan entered the carriage, she had already woken up. The reason why she remained unconscious was purely because she didn't know how to face the current situation. Zuking. Zhu Zuan looked at Zhu Zuking in Fang Yuan's arms, who was like a pet maid, with a sad look in her eyes. She thought that if she sent Zhu Zuking away from the Zhu family, she would have a different future. At least it would not be better than being a plaything of the nobles in Xingluo. Who could have thought that things would develop into this? Even she herself. Sister. Zhu Zuking looked at Zhu Zuan with a complicated expression. When the two women's eyes met, Zhu Zuking had already understood. What Fang Yuan said was right, and what she thought was right. Zhu Zuan chased her this time, not to kill her, nor to take her back, but to help her get rid of the restrictions and constraints of the Zhu family and break free from that cage. Unfortunately, fate played tricks on people. No one expected that things would develop into what they are now. They actually met Fang Yuan. Son, I'm sorry for the offense I've done to you. If you want any compensation, just ask. I will satisfy you, as long as I can do it. Zhu Zuan put herself in a very humble position. The restraints on her body had not been untied yet. She could only lie flat on the ground and spoke softly to Fang Yuan. Son, you know that I'm the eldest daughter of the Zhu family and the fiancée of the eldest prince of Xingluo, Davis. As long as I ask, I can provide a lot of resources, a lot of wealth, and even soul bones for you. Hey, big cat, to be honest, you are much dumber than your sister. Fang Yuan played with the cat ears, but Nightingale on the side interrupted Zhu Zuan's words. Your sister can recognize her current situation. How can you, the eldest daughter of the Zhu family and the future queen of Xingluo, have no sense at all? Let's not talk about your current status as a prisoner. Even if you are not a prisoner, do you think you can have an equal dialogue with the Son of God? Nightingale snorted, looking at Zhu Zuan, who was lying on the ground and was tied up, with contempt and disdain. A family without even a title Douluo, a prince's fiancé who has not even confirmed the position of the crown prince. What kind of illusion do you have that makes you feel that you can have an equal dialogue with the Holy Son and make deals with him? You don't even know the identity of the Holy Son. Zhu Zuan opened her mouth, but no sound came out. Thinking about it carefully, it seems to be true. For a person who can make a level 95 title Douluo willingly drive a horse and a carriage for her, what does her so-called Zhu family, her proud identity as the future queen of Xingluo, who should be admired by thousands of people, and at the top of power, mean? For our Holy Son, even a titled Douluo is nothing. You, a small Zhu family, dare to do this, and that in front of my Holy Son. You really don't know what you are talking about. If it were me, I would have given you. Nightingale. Fang Yuan spoke calmly. Nightingale snorted lightly, curled her lips at Zhu Zuan with disdain, and then stood aside obediently. To be honest, I'm not a person who likes to kill people at will. What's more, just now, your little sister was willing to serve me for her whole life in exchange for your life. Fang Yuan gently stroked ZHU Zuking's cat ears and smiled lightly, so you don't have to worry about what I will do to you. However, letting you go is naturally impossible. Although the ZHU family and the Xingluo Empire are nothing, too many small troubles will always make people upset. ZHU Zuan bit her red lips. Then what about the Holy Sun? Ms. ZHU Zuan, as the future queen of Xingluo, must be a mother of the country. She should be able to handle all the big and small things well. Fang Yuan looked at ZHU Zuan and smiled. Speaking of which, I have been in the city of slaughter, and no one has taken care of my daily life. Why not? Let the little nightingale and Miss ZHU Zuan learn from each other. How about it? Chapter 44. A forced melon is not sweet, but it quenches thirst. It is not difficult to subdue the big and small cats, because the method used by Fang Yuan is the most direct. Who let the two women fall into his hands? Maybe the two women are not afraid of death, but they are also unwilling to see each other die, and unwilling to see each other suffer humiliation and torture. In this way, it is very easy to control them. There is no need for any kind of affection, nor for any poetry and distance. Simple and rough methods are always the most successful. What? You say that the melon is not sweet when it is forced? What a joke. As a person from the city of slaughter, I still care whether your melon is sweet or not. Just quench your thirst. Fang Yuan enjoyed the blessing of all the people in the carriage, and the slaughter knight also drove a carriage and leisurely came to Notting City. Notting City is not prosperous, it is just a small city, but its city walls are built thickly. Although the buildings behind the city wall are simple, the shouting and the smell of fireworks make Fang Yuan look dazed. Thinking about it carefully, he had never been to such a prosperous human city. Although the killing city was huge, it was after all a gathering place of chaos and desire. Such an orderly and prosperous human city was indeed the first time Fang Yuan had seen it. Fang Yuan and his 4 companions naturally stayed in the best hotel in Notting City, with beautiful women and old men accompanying him, plus Fang Yuan's luxurious clothes. People immediately thought of some young master. Along the way, he naturally attracted everyone's attention. Where did this young master come from? He actually went out with 3 beauties. These 3 women are really different. If I could have a kiss with them, hehe. You really don't want to die. These people are the children of big families. You, who can't control your mouth, I'm afraid you don't know how you died. I just talked a little. Don't you dare to kill me in public, you guy. In the hotel lobby, many people looked at Fang Yuan and whispered to each other, but Fang Yuan looked indifferent and ignored them. The killing knight who had opened the room frowned slightly. While respectfully handing the room card to Fang Yuan, he quietly released a ray of scarlet soul power and merged it into the bodies of those gossipers. The killing knight opened 3 rooms in total, 1 for himself, 1 for Fang Yuan, and 1 for Nightingale and the ZHU sisters. However, although 3 rooms were opened, only 2 rooms were occupied in the end, and the reason was unknown. There was no conversation that night. The next day, in the room, ZHU Zuking slowly opened her eyes and saw ZHU Zuan, who was naked beside her, and Nightingale, who was sleeping soundly on the other side. The man between the two of them was gone. ZHU Zuking wanted to get up, but she felt sore all over. ZHU Zuan felt the movement and opened her eyes. Looking at ZHU Zuking, who was a little at a loss, she sighed softly, frowned and endured the discomfort, while gently hugging ZHU Zuking. Zuking, cry if you want to. Sister. The 2 girls hugged each other, recalling everything that happened yesterday and last night. ZHU Zuking couldn't help but blushing. Tears welled up in her eyes, like pear blossoms in the rain. Seeing this, ZHU Zuan's eyes flashed with a trace of heartache. He stroked ZHU Zuking's back and said softly, "This is the fate of the women in our ZHU family. It has never been something we can decide. For the family, we are tools to curry favor with the rich and powerful. For the royal nobles, we are tools to win people's hearts. Our fate has been determined from the moment we were born. Zuking, I know that you came out this time to find that waste Damu Bay and to fight for that glimmer of hope, that ray of dawn and opportunity, but Zuking, to be honest, I don't think highly of you. If Damu Bay took you away when he escaped from Xingluo, then I might have looked up to him, but he didn't consider your feelings at all and ran away alone. How can such a person be entrusted with your life? but you are my sister, and I don't want to see you spend the rest of your life in that cage. Zhu Zuan hugged Zhu Zuking. The struggle between the powerful is so cruel. I can only use the last resort to chase you away from Xingdao. Unfortunately, it seems that both of us have failed. Sister. Zhu Zuking leaned on Zhu Zuan's arms and sobbed softly. Her heart was full of emotion, but also full of sorrow. They fought against their own fate, but in the end they ended up with such a ridiculous ending. What are you doing crying? A slightly impatient voice sounded from the side. Nightingale impatiently lifted the quilt and revealed her head. It is an unparalleled honor to be able to dedicate yourself to the Son of God. Do you understand? You talk about fate and family all day long. You two don't understand your current situation at all. Serving the Son of God is your first task. I thought I could enjoy the Son of God's first time alone, but I didn't expect that I would have to share it with you two. It's so unlucky. You two are simply not grateful for what you have. Looking at Nightingale, who was covering her head with the quilt and was full of unhappiness, the two sisters of the Zhu family were so embarrassed. The two girls looked at each other. Zhu Zuking shut up, but the older Zhu Zuan stood up. Sister Nightingale. Zhu Zuan came to Nightingale's side and whispered, "We can be considered sisters. Zuking and I still have some doubts in our hearts. I wonder if Sister Nightingale can answer them." Although Nightingale is a little older than Zhu Zuking, she is definitely not as old as Zhu Zuan. But Zhu Zuan took the initiative to call Nightingale sister, which made Nightingale quite happy. Little Nightingale snorted softly, sat up from the bed, took out a gauze from the storage soul guide, and covered her body. "Tell me, what do you want to know?" Although I know it's a bit presumptuous to ask such a question, I still want to know. The Son of God. What is our identity? Identity? Nightingale looked at Zhu Zuan in surprise. This future queen of Xingluo is indeed different. What she said is always so comforting. Since we are sisters, we should know something. Anyway, you will go there in a while. In fact, our identities are very simple. As you can see, I'm an evil soul master, and Lord Slaughter Knight is also an evil soul master. And as the eldest daughter of the Zhu family, you should have heard of the name of the most powerful evil soul master gathering place in the entire Douluo Continent. You mean? Zhu Zuan's pupils shrank, and a look of disbelief appeared on her pretty face. The legendary corrupt city, the city of slaughter? Chapter 45. As long as the Son of God is happy, it's not a problem. Although the slaughter city is secretive and only a few people know about it on the mainland, the two empires and the spirit hall have always known about the existence of the slaughter city, because they need to obtain supplies from the outside world and collect the fallen. Not only do they know, but there are also some transactions between them. For example, the most basic supply of materials and the control of evil soul masters. Yes, whether it is the two empires or the spirit hall, they all have a consensus. That is, the reason why the slaughter city can become a special existence on the Douluo Continent is purely because it is a special cage that can be used to restrict evil soul masters. Because of the rule of allowing entry but not exit, the slaughter city has been able to stand on the mainland for thousands of years among many forces. And at this moment, Nightingale actually told her that they came from the slaughter city. Who told you that you can enter, but not leave the city of slaughter? Nightingale looked at Zhu Zuan strangely, snorted and said, "That's the rule for ordinary people. Don't forget, as long as you can achieve the position of God of Slaughter, you can have the power to enter and leave the city of slaughter freely." You mean? Zhu Zuan opened his mouth wide. Yes. Nightingale nodded. The Holy Son is the God of Slaughter of this city of slaughter. Similarly, after the Holy Son obtained the title of God of Slaughter, he was accepted as a disciple by the King of Slaughter and given the title of Holy Son. That is to say, the Holy Son is not only the God of Slaughter of our city of slaughter, but also the next King of Slaughter of our city of slaughter. Nightingale's eyes were full of reverence and fanaticism. For all members of the city of slaughter, the title of King of Slaughter is the God in their hearts. God of Slaughter, the future King of Slaughter. Although Zhu Zuan didn't know much about the city of slaughter, he had heard some news. According to legend, only those who have completed various tests in the city of slaughter and fought among thousands of people are qualified to become the God of Slaughter. Doesn't that mean Fang Yuan? Zhu Zuan opened her mouth, her eyes full of incredible shock. She finally understood why Fang Yuan would disdain the Zhu family and the Xingluo royal family, and why there would be a titled Douluo who was willing to become Fang Yuan's groom. Such an identity, such qualifications, such a future. Fang Yuan is like a rising star, magnificent and brilliant. For him, the two empires are really nothing. Perhaps only the spirit hall can suppress him. The big and small cats looked at each other with complicated expressions. The two women and Fang Yuan have already had physical contact, and are husband and wife. Even if they return to Xingluo, once they find out that she is not a virgin, even if they can still be safe and sound, their status will inevitably plummet. At present, it seems to be the best choice to follow what Nightingale said. So, it's your honor to be favored by the Holy Sun. Nightingale snorted, serve the Holy Sun obediently. As long as the Holy Sun is happy, then the Zhu family and the Xingluo royal family will not matter. You mean, Bishop Zia has been transferred? In the Wuhan Hall of Notting City, Fang Yuan looked at the staff in front of him with a frown. Yes, he has been transferred a long time ago, and went to Wuhan City, to be a senior manager. The staff looked at Fang Yuan strangely. This is no secret. At that time, Lord Zia led the Soul Master team, and eliminated many evil Soul Masters. He made contributions, and was naturally transferred. Fang Yuan frowned, took out a purse from the Ouroboros ring, and threw it to the staff. Tell me in detail. The staff shook the purse with a trace of disdain on his face. He was about to throw the purse back to Fang Yuan, and his eyes happened to see the golden light from the purse. Gold soul coins? The purse thrown out was instantly taken back by him, and the staff immediately showed an apologetic smile. Young master, what do you want to know? I will tell you everything I know. Fang Yuan looked at this guy with disdain. It's about the transfer of Bishop Zia. Okay. It is said that the situation at that time was like this. The staff told Fang Yuan a lot, sometimes shaking his head, gesticulating, sometimes laughing and cursing, with exaggerated expressions, which made Fang Yuan speechless. It's a big loss for you not to tell stories. However, Fang Yuan finally figured out the reasons before and after Zia's transfer. It should be that after he was captured by Mo Shen, Zia led the Soul Masters of the Spirit Hall to search for him. Although Zia didn't find him in the end, he was transferred to the Spirit City because he eliminated many evil Soul Masters. Actually, if you ask me, Bishop Zia's move is actually a demotion in disguise. The staff sighed and said, although the so-called senior steward has a nice name, it is actually no different from me. Isn't it just a receptionist of the Spirit Hall in Spirit City? How can it be as comfortable as the bishop of this branch hall? I don't know why Bishop Zia agreed to this transfer order. The most outrageous thing is that I heard that Bishop Zia took the initiative to apply for it. Don't you think it's outrageous? If you ask me, it must be because Bishop Zia's contribution is too great, which makes others jealous, so her award has been modified. Take the initiative to apply. Fang Yuan secretly made a note in his heart. Although Zia is not in Notting City now, at least he knows that she is fine and did not die at the hands of Mo Shen. Although Fang Yuan calls himself a villain, he always thinks that he is a villain with principles. Although he spent a very short time with Zia, even less than a day, Fang Yuan remembered how good Zia was to him. If you are grateful, you must repay it. If you don't repay the kindness, you are not a human being. If you don't repay the kindness, then what is the difference between him and Tang San? Thank you for telling me. Fang Yuan shook his head and prepared to turn around and leave. Hey, young master, why don't you tell me your name? Although I'm a humble official, I have some connections in Wuhan City. I can help you send a message to Lady Zia. It seemed that Fang Yuan gave too much. The staff member felt a little ashamed. Seeing Fang Yuan was about to leave, he hurriedly shouted to Fang Yuan, no need. Fang Yuan waved his hand. The main purpose of his coming to Notting City this time was to see Zia. Since Zia was not there was no point in staying in Notting City. As for leaving his name, he had a special identity now. If he was traced, it would inevitably be a little troublesome. It's better to have less trouble than more. I will go to Wuhan City to find Zia later. Fang Yuan turned around and prepared to leave, and at this moment, a calm voice sounded from the door. "Manager, we are here to collect this month's Soul Master subsidy." Fang Yuan subconsciously turned around and saw a middle-aged man leading a young man into the spirit hall. Chapter 46. The thick-skinned master and disciple duo. The middle-aged man was about 40 or 50 years old, of medium build, slightly thin, and of ordinary appearance. With his short hair and stubble, he gave people an extremely decadent feeling, but his rough face was always filled with a faint smile. Obviously, he was in a very good mood at the moment. The boy next to him was similar to him. He had an ordinary appearance, about 11 or 12 years old, wearing a coarse linen shirt, and his skin was wheat colored. He was not ugly, but he was also an ordinary face. Fang Yuan looked at the two of them, and the two of them also noticed Fang Yuan. This boy is so handsome, and dressed in luxurious clothes. Is he the son of that family? Why does this person have an inexplicable sense of familiarity? The middle-aged man glanced at Fang Yuan twice, then walked to the staff and took out his Soul Master certificate. "Manager, I'm here to collect this month's Soul Master subsidy. Isn't this the master?" The staff looked at the middle-aged man with some disdain, but still forced a smile on his face, and took over the master and the Soul Master certificates of the boy next to him. After checking, the staff took out 2 money bags from the cabinet and handed them to the master and the young man respectively. A total of 20 gold soul coins. "Take them." "Okay." The two were not polite. After accepting the money bags one by one, they turned around and left without saying a few polite words. However, when leaving, the young man looked at Fang Yuan again and felt that he was a little familiar. After the two left completely, the staff member immediately curled his lips and showed a disgusted expression. "Really? You really take the Soul Master subsidy as a pension? How can you be so thick-skinned at such an age? Sorry to make you laugh, young master. Judging from your appearance, you probably don't know the two people just now. Those two people are famous here. The younger one is okay. He is considered a genius. It is said that he is born with full soul power. Unfortunately, his martial soul is a blue silver grass. Although he is 11 years old, he is also at the level of 27 or 28. As for the older one, the disgust on the staff's face became more and more intense, and even a little disgusted. He is a complete waste. He is in his 40s or 50s, but he is still at level 29. Not only is he not talented, but he also does nothing all day long. He cheats and eats for free under the name of master. He has received the Soul Master subsidy for decades, but he has never said anything good about the Spirit Hall. In the past few years, because he fooled a disciple with full innate soul power, he has been acting like a big shot all day long. I don't know if this blue silver grass waste can give him face. The staff member said a few words hatefully. Obviously he usually despises the master and has a lot of resentment. But if you think about it carefully, this is normal. After all, anyone who meets such a guy who eats the minimum living allowance in your hand and is so arrogant and looks down on you will do the same, right? Fang Yuan smiled and shook his head, waved his hand, and walked out of the spirit hall. He didn't really care about Uzziah Gang and Tang San. When he just crossed over, he did have the idea of clinging to Tang San's thigh, but now, this idea has completely disappeared. In the past few years in the Slaughter City, Fang Yuan not only changed his fighting skills, but also his state of mind. It is true that Tang San is the protagonist of the Douluo world, the future sea god and Azura god, but with Fang Yuan behind him, will the future be the same? Although he has no direct conflict with Tang San, he will not let go of those opportunities that originally belonged to Tang San in the original work. What? You say this is not kind? What a joke. As the saying goes, if a man does not work for himself, he will be punished by heaven and earth. Moreover, in the original work, those opportunities that belonged to Tang San, few of them were obtained by his own strength and personal ability. Let's not talk about anything else, just talk about Shrek's biggest plug-in fairy grass. Shouldn't this fairy grass be an opportunity for Poison Douluo? Poison Douluo has done his best for you, Tang San, and regards you as a friend of different ages, but you, Tang San, licked his face and snatched his fairy grass and even overturned his medicine garden. In this situation, how can I not snatch it? Exclamation mark. But then again, this fairy grass is basically the foundation for the Shrek people to become gods. If I take this fairy grass away, can the Shrek 7 devils still become gods? No. The little cat is in his hands now, and whether the Shrek 7 devils can become gods is a problem. But then again, I can go to Shrek Academy and let the little cat see the current situation of Damu Bay, the waste. By the way, I can also take down the 100,000-year-old little rabbit. A 100,000-year-old soul ring and soul bone, this can't be let go easily. Fang Yuan walked out of the Wuhan Hall and strolled on the street, buying various gifts and food. He was also going to go home, to the Emperor Soul Village. After so many years in the Killing City, I don't know what Uncle Aoa looks like now. Since I'm back, I naturally have to go back and take a look. After buying the things, Fang Yuan returned to the hotel and found that the three women had woken up and the relationship between them had become happy. This surprised Fang Yuan. But Fang Yuan was also happy about this. The relationship between the girls was good, so he was relieved. After the girls washed and rest, Fang Yuan took the killing knight and drove the carriage towards the Emperor Soul Village. The Emperor Soul Village was not far from Notting City. In addition, there were three beauties accompanying them along the way. The surrounding scenery was beautiful. This journey was not boring at all, but it was like a picnic, which was soothing. In just half a day, Fang Yuan entered the Emperor Soul Village. You will wait here, Captain. Please wait here too. The Emperor Soul Village was quite special. Whether it was the ZHU sisters or the Killing Knight, their identities were not suitable to appear here. Although concealing the soul power aura could make them look like ordinary people, their appearance and their temperament could not be changed. If they were noticed by some people with ulterior motives, some troubles would arise. Don't worry, Holy Son, we understand. Fang Yuan nodded, and then entered the Emperor Soul Village alone. Walking on the path, looking at the familiar yet unfamiliar environment around him, Fang Yuan felt complicated. This small mountain village, where he has lived for 6 years, does not seem to have changed much from 6 years ago. It is very shabby and simple, but also very comfortable. Soon, Fang Yuan had walked into the Dahin village. Grandpa Ao's house was not far from the entrance of the village, a small thatched house. With his home in front of him, Fang Yuan's mood unconsciously became excited. He quickened his pace and walked to the door into steps. The wooden door was closed. Fang Yuan took a deep breath and knocked on the door gently. Knock knock knock. After a moment, a familiar old voice sounded from inside the house. Come in. Chapter 47 Homecoming. Fang Yuan pushed open the long-missed wooden door, and the light shone through the open door, illuminating the room. Looking around, an old figure was sitting behind the table, holding a magnifying glass and looking at something. There was also a thick book next to him, and the word dictionary could be vaguely seen. Didn't you say not to disturb me? Are you Xiaoyan? It seemed that he had encountered difficulties in learning something, and Or's face was full of impatience, but when he raised his head and saw Fang Yuan in the door, he was stunned. Although Fang Yuan's appearance now is completely different from that of 5 years ago, Fang Yuan was brought up by Or after all. That temperament in his bones. Even if Fang Yuan changed a lot, Or still recognized Fang Yuan at a glance. It's me, Grandpa Or. Fang Yuan smiled. I'm back. Compared with 5 years ago, Grandpa Or has aged a lot, with a few more wrinkles between his eyebrows, and his temples have become grey. The waist that could only rely on crutches to walk seems to have become more hunched. However, when Fang Yuan saw him, Fang Yuan could clearly feel that Or's expression became a little excited. Before Fang Yuan could express his longing for the old man, Or picked up the cane beside him and waved it at Fang Yuan. You stinky boy, don't even come back to visit for 5 years. How come you haven't even sent a letter? At least you should send a letter back to report your safety, which makes me, an old man, nag for a long time. It's been 5 years. Others go home once a year. Even those who are boarding, come back once every 3 years. You, a kid, haven't sent a letter for 5 years. Listening to Grandpa Or's scolding, Fang Yuan showed a silly smile. He caught a glimpse of the books on Or's desk, and the words dictionary of continental characters were engraved on them. There were 1 or 2 pieces of paper on the table, with something crookedly written on them. Fang Yuan could barely understand the words my grandson Fang Yuan received. In the corner beside, there was a pile of waste paper, covered with dust, which was obviously there for a long time. Obviously. Over the past few years, because the two sides have not been in contact, or has been worried about Fang Yuan. Now he wants to learn to write by himself, so that he can contact Fang Yuan. Is it this word? It's similar to the way a crab walks. When did Grandpa have such a refined interest, and started to write? Or followed Fang Yuan's line of sight and said, well, now you dare to make fun of your grandpa, you're asking for a fight. The old and the young were laughing and joking in the house. If the people in the slaughter city saw the harmonious scene of the grandfather and grandson, they would be shocked. Who would have thought that the god of killing, who suppressed the entire slaughter city, actually had such a side? After some laughter and noise, Fang Yuan took out the gifts and food from the Ouroboros bracelet, and then took out a few money bags, and handed them to Or. No, I'll take these things, but you have to take back this money. Or refused again and again. You must have a lot of money to spend outside. I know that soul masters have a lot of expenses. You can keep it for yourself. Why give it to an old man like me? I'm here all year round. I don't go anywhere, and I don't have any expenses. But you are different. You still have to practice, create a career, and get married and have children. You don't know that it's very difficult to get a wife now. If you don't have strong soul power, you have to be powerful or very handsome. I remember that old Jack's grandson was very ugly. He will definitely not be able to get a wife in the future. Or push the purse, and talk to Fang Yuan in a nagging manner. Fang Yuan's hunched body made his throat sore. Fang Yuan forced a smile, and joked to Or, you are joking, Grandpa Or. I'm so handsome, and I'm afraid that I can't find a wife. Hearing this, Or looked at Fang Yuan carefully and nodded heavily. That's right. Our little Fang Yuan is so handsome that he will definitely charm all those girls. Ha ha ha. By the way, little Fang Yuan, you haven't believed in the past 5 years. Why did you? Of course I was immersed in cultivation. Fang Yuan laughed. I have innate full soul power. Of course I have to practice hard to bring honor to my family. Grandpa Or, I'm now level 30 soul master. Next, I may have to participate in the next Douluo Continent Advanced Soul Master Elite competition. You may not know, but that is the super golden age for our soul masters. You just wait and see your grandson's brilliant performance there. Okay. Or smiled from ear to ear. You are a soul master now. It won't be long before you can become a soul emperor or even a soul saint. Of course, I have innate full soul power. Even a titled Douluo is no problem. Haha, good. That's great. When you become a titled Douluo, I will change our village into a Douluo village. Only then will we be truly honored by our ancestors. Or pulled Fang Yuan to greet him, and Fang Yuan also told him about his cultivation and the interesting things he encountered in his daily life. Of course, those things were basically made up by Fang Yuan. After all, in the city of slaughter, there was nothing but decadence and fighting every day and night. Anyone who heard the story would definitely find loopholes in it, but all listened to it with great interest, and even explained some life truths to Fang Yuan from time to time. As for the all-continental high-level Soul Master Elite competition, Fang Yuan did not talk nonsense. After all, he was a student of the Spirit Hall Academy, and was eligible to participate. The grandfather and grandson were happy together. Although the two were not related by blood, the emotions they showed were undoubtedly the most sincere family affection. When waiting for the sky to darken, Fang Yuan took the initiative to cook a meal for all. The grandfather and grandson even had a drink. Fang Yuan waited until all was drunk before helping him to the bed. He left several more money bags under the quilt and a letter saying that he would be back after a while, and told Or not to worry about him. Then he left. The moon was bright and the breeze was blowing. Fang Yuan walked out of the Emperor Soul village and looked back at the small village chief with only a few lights flickering behind him. He felt so relaxed and relieved. Holy sun. The killing knight called out when he saw Fang Yuan coming back, and also woke up the 3 women who were waiting. Sorry for the wait. Fang Yuan breathed a sigh of relief and said with a smile, let's camp here tonight and have a good rest for a day. Tomorrow we will go to Soto City and then to Sunset Forest. Soto City. ZHU Zhu King and ZHU Zuan seemed to have thought of something. They looked at each other and were silent. The killing knight was a little confused. Sunset Forest. Why go to such a remote place? If we want to obtain soul beasts, wouldn't the Stardow Great Forest be better? It's not for the soul rings. Fang Yuan shook his head and smiled. By the way, there is one more thing that I need the captain's help with. Please give me the recommendation votes and monthly votes directly. Chapter 48 Exploration. Meanwhile, not in college. After receiving the Spirit Master subsidy, the master and apprentice returned to the dormitory, but this time, the master used a gang called Tang-san. Zio-san, I know that during this period, several intermediate Spirit Master colleges have expressed their willingness to recruit you unconditionally, but I hope you can refuse them. Tang-san was slightly stunned. Although he was a little confused, he did not ask. He knew that his teacher would not harm him. Since he asked him not to go to those intermediate colleges, the teacher naturally had his own considerations. I know you are confused, because I have a better choice for you. The master smiled, and took out a map from the drawer, pointing to the location of Soto City on the map and said, "Here, there is an extremely special Spirit Master College. Its name is Shrek College. This college does not have a level division, and its reputation is not prominent, but I hope you can join them, and become a student." Tang-san took the map, and looked at the location of Soto City on the map with some curiosity. He did not question Uzaya Gang about what this college was like, and why he wanted to join this college, but chose to trust it directly. Seeing Tang-san's actions, Uzaya Gang's slightly decadent face showed a smile, and his eyes were full of satisfaction. Tang-san's aptitude was the best among the people he had seen. He was only 11 years old, but he was already at the 29 level, and he also had twin martial spirits. Given time, Tang-san would definitely become the top powerhouse on the continent, and make a name for himself. Uzaya Gang patted Tang-san on the shoulder, and said with a smile, "Go, you will be surprised. Believe me, it is a very suitable academy for you. The teacher will go to Sharingan City first, and after finishing the things there, he will go to Shrek Academy to find you. Will the teacher come too?" Tang-san's face was full of surprise. Uzaya Gang smiled and nodded. "Of course. Okay, I have called a carriage for you. You pack up, and we will set off later." "Yes, teacher." Not long after, a carriage left Notting Academy and drove towards the outside of Notting City. Fang Yuan, who was in the dark, looked at the distant Fang Yuan indifferently, and then looked at the killing knight beside him. "What's going on, Captain? What the Holy Sun said is true. There is indeed an extremely powerful aura around that kid, guarding him in the dark. That aura is extremely powerful, although his soul power has some fluctuations, and his level is not as good as mine. If we force him to fight, I'm afraid that both of us will suffer losses," the killing knight said with a solemn face, and he was a little hesitant at the end. "Besides, I always feel that the soul power aura is a bit familiar, as if I have encountered it before." He originally thought that the help Fang Yuan mentioned was just a small matter, and he didn't take it seriously at first. Who knew that he was actually dealing with a titled Douluo? And this titled Douluo was actually a guy who was not weaker than himself, which made the killing knight take it seriously instantly. "You have indeed met him before, and you know him." Fang Yuan chuckled. "Remember the previous god of killing in our city of slaughter?" "What?" The killing knight's pupils contracted, looking at the carriage in the distance, feeling the familiar soul power, and finally reacted. "It's him. Yes, that guy." Fang Yuan snorted and said calmly, "But I'm not asking you to fight him this time. Although that guy has injuries, and is decadent and drinks all day, his strength has declined, but he is a killing god after all, and he has many cards. Once we fight, regardless of the outcome, it will definitely not end in a short time. If we attract the attention of the spirit hall at that time, it will be bad." The killing knight looked puzzled. If he didn't come to fight with that guy, then what on earth? "No hurry. You have confirmed that the guy has left Nottingham with the carriage, right?" The killing knight nodded. "Please rest assured, Saint Son, although this killing god is powerful, his soul power level is not as good as mine. In addition, due to unstable breath and damaged strength, it will never be wrong to lock his breath." "Very good." Fang Yuan nodded with satisfaction. Tang Heo, that guy, really worried about the safety of Tang-san and the soft bone rabbit, and went to Soto City with them, so his plan could be implemented. "Follow me." Without the pressure from Tang Heo, Fang Yuan also released his soul power without reservation and directly possessed the spirit. Anyway, he had the Slaughter Knight to cover him, so as long as he was not a titled Douluo, his breath would not be discovered. With the spirit possessed, Fang Yuan began to use his soul power, and the comprehensive attributes of his body began to rise sharply. Not long after, Fang Yuan left Notting City with the Slaughter Knight and came to the Nokfa Mountains. At this moment, the sky was getting dark, and because of the lack of sunlight, the entire mountain range seemed a little gloomy. But Fang Yuan was wantonly shuttling through it. His pair of Sharingan kept turning, investigating everything around. Although the Slaughter Knight behind him was curious about Fang Yuan's purpose, he was very sensible and did not ask, but just followed quietly and guarded him. Although the Nokfa Mountains are wild, the soul beasts in them are not very powerful. They fainted directly after being slightly shocked by the Slaughter Knight's soul power. Coupled with Fang Yuan's speed, the road was unimpeded. Not long after, the two came to the depths of the Nokfa Mountains. Search for the waterfall. Be careful not to make too much noise. Fang Yuan was aware of everything around him. He pricked up his ears and listened to the sounds around him. At the same time, he gave orders to the Killing Knight and started searching together. The Killing Knight nodded. Although he didn't know what Fang Yuan was doing, his figure turned into a blood shadow and disappeared on the spot. Not long after, the sound of flowing water gradually sounded in his ears. Fang Yuan immediately stopped his steps and looked in the direction of the sound. With his feet moving quickly, Fang Yuan passed through a dense jungle. He felt that his eyes were empty. A huge waterfall appeared in front of him. The waterfall in front of him was connected to the sky and the ground, and it was more than 200 meters high. It was surrounded by mountains and was full of greenery, which was refreshing. The sound of breaking wind sounded behind him, and the figure of the Killing Knight appeared behind Fang Yuan. What a paradise outside the country. I didn't expect that there would be such a good place in this valley. The Killing Knight looked around and sighed. But Fang Yuan didn't care about the beautiful scenery here at all. His Sharingan stared closely at the waterfall that connected the sky and the earth, constantly turning, as if looking for something. The water flow of the waterfall was very turbulent, but the powerful insight of the Sharingan still allowed him to discover a piece of soil and rock that was different from the surroundings. The mental power was released, but there was no obstruction at all, as if the soil and rock behind was not a rock wall, but empty. Fang Yuan jumped up, condensed the soul power in his palm, and slapped the soil and rock. The rock and soil broke, and a narrow stone chamber space appeared in front of Fang Yuan. Ha 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 ha, it's here. Looking at the stone chamber in front of him, Fang Yuan laughed, jumped up, and drilled into the stone chamber. Captain, be on guard for me outside. This Saint Sun's great opportunity is here. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 49. Obtain the Blue Silver Emperor's right leg bone. This is a valley, or more precisely, a pond. The water is clear and bottom penetrating, quiet and deep, like a huge sapphire. On one side of the valley, a waterfall about 20 meters wide is like a jade belt across the nearly 200 meter high mountain wall. The rumbling sound is caused by it hitting the pond. The waterfall pours down and hits the pond, splashing countless water. The clear water vapor hits the face, and the moist air is refreshing and extremely comfortable. The Killing Knight quietly waited outside the waterfall. Although he didn't know what the Son of God was doing inside, it was the Son of God who gave the order to protect him. The Son of God came here after waiting for the God of Killing to leave, which means that this place is very likely to have a deep relationship with the God of Killing. It is even very likely that this is the place where the God of Killing is meditating or burying treasures. The Killing Knight guessed in his heart and was also extremely vigilant. If it is really as he guessed, then once the God of Killing notices the situation here, he will definitely be furious, and there will be no shortage of battles. Although he was not afraid of the God of Killing, with Fang Yuan holding him back, the Killing Knight might not be able to fire at full power. Therefore, the Killing Knight was still on guard. Once the crisis came, he would take Fang Yuan away directly. I can't beat you, but can I run away from you? The killing knight was cautious and alert, but Fang Yuan in the waterfall cave laughed out loud. Because of the night, the environment in the cave was pitch black, but in the eyes of Fang Yuan who opened the Sharingan, it was no different from daytime. The powerful insight of the Sharingan was enough to let him see everything in the cave. There were not many furnishings in the entire cave, and it was a bit empty, but just below the stone hole above, there was a small mound of earth, and on the mound, a slender blue-silver grass fluttered in the wind. The blue-silver grass looked longer than ordinary grass leaves, and the most peculiar thing was the golden fine lines on the grass leaves, which looked extremely noble. Yes, this special blue-silver grass was the former 100,000-year-old soul beast, the blue-silver emperor. Fang Yuan's hand gently stroked the branches of the blue-silver emperor, and the blue-silver emperor seemed to feel the touch. The golden lines on the grass seemed to come alive, and in the slight rhythm, the golden light rippled like water waves. No resource supply, no soul power infusion, and a closed life in the dark for more than 10 years. Fang Yuan gently stroked the blue-silver emperor, and a sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth, mocking, "If I didn't know that this blue-silver emperor was Tang Heo's wife, I would have thought she was a prisoner. This place looks good, with beautiful mountains and rivers, and a natural and harmonious place, but that's outside. In this stone chamber, let alone mountains and rivers, even sunlight can't shine in. The entire space is completely wrapped in indestructible rocks. It can be said that except for this handful of loess, there is no place in the entire stone chamber that can allow this blue-silver emperor to grow. Such an environment is not a cage built completely for the blue-silver emperor!" Exclamation mark. Fang Yuan gently stroked the blue-silver emperor, and felt that it was really not worth it. But the purpose of his trip was not it. Fang Yuan gently stroked the blue-silver emperor for a moment, then looked at the stone wall on one side. The powerful insight of the Sharingan had long discovered the difference in this stone wall. With a palm back, the strong soul power fell on it, and the stone wall suddenly made a dull sound. "What's wrong, Holy Son?" The killing knight outside heard the noise and asked worriedly. "Nothing." Fang Yuan responded loudly, but his eyes were fixed on the thing that fell out of the stone wall. It was a black box, which was long, and about 1.5 meters long, and 1 foot wide. Fang Yuan used his soul power to grab it, but it felt very heavy in his hand, weighing more than 200 kilograms. With a flick of his finger, the black box suddenly made a dull sound. Fang Yuan's eyes lit up, and his excitement was unbearable. His hands even trembled a little. Almost impatient, Fang Yuan directly opened the dark box. In the dark box, a right leg bone was quietly placed inside. Among the 6 soul bones that can be carried on a person, the right leg bone is undoubtedly ranked at the bottom. But the right leg bone in front of him looks so different. This right leg bone is crystal clear blue gold, and there seems to be a little starlight flashing inside. The most peculiar thing is that the moment he saw this right leg bone, Fang Yuan actually felt a sense of fresh life. As if this right leg bone seems to have life. What a strong breath of life. Fang Yuan took a deep breath. He had never touched a soul bone, although he already had an external soul bone, and that external soul bone came from the top soul beast, the dark gold terror claw bear. However, that external soul bone was directly integrated into his body when he absorbed the soul ring, and he had never seen what a soul bone looks like. At this moment, Fang Yuan saw a soul bone for the first time, and it was a soul bone that was as old as 100,000 years. Yes, this right leg bone is the right leg bone of the blue-silver emperor from the 100,000-year-old blue-silver emperor. In the original novel, this soul bone brought great convenience to Tang San. It not only greatly improved his soul power, making the redundant power in his body completely integrated with his body, but also brought Tang San 2 soul skills. Soul skill 1, wildfire cannot burn at all, spring breeze blows it back to life. Self-repair of the body, even broken limbs can grow back by themselves. In the blue-silver domain and places full of blue-silver grass, it is very beneficial for this soul skill to be used. Soul skill 2, flying, additional flying ability. At this moment, this soul bone is quietly presented in front of Fang Yuan. Gilu. Fang Yuan's eyes were fixed on the right leg bone of the blue-silver emperor. The value of a 100,000-year soul bone is not lower than that of a 100,000-year soul ring. It may even be because of the special nature of the soul bone that its value is even higher than that of a 100,000-year soul ring. After all, absorbing soul rings has the risk of failure and backlash, while absorbing soul bones has no side effects. Fang Yuan resisted the greed in his heart and restrained the desire to absorb it directly. He waved his left hand and put it into the Ouroboros bracelet. Although it is safe to absorb soul bones, it often takes a lot of time to absorb the soul power in the soul bones because the soul power in the soul bones is too huge. Given the importance of the Blue Silver Emperor, Tang Rishan will definitely come back to check it out. Fang Yuan doesn't want to be caught by Tang Rishan when he is halfway through absorbing it. With the soul bone in hand, Fang Yuan's purpose of this trip has been achieved. Fang Yuan turned to leave, but just as he was about to leave the stone chamber, a light binding feeling came from his left hand. Fang Yuan frowned slightly and turned his head to look. He found that the gently swaying blue silver grass had moved on its own at some point. A slender grass leaf gently stretched out and wrapped around Fang Yuan's left hand. At the same time, an extremely weak mental fluctuation was transmitted. This is Chapter 50, The Longing Blue Silver Emperor. The Blue Silver Emperor gently wrapped around Fang Yuan's left hand, conveying an inexplicable emotion. Is it because I took her soul bone and she wants to stop me? Fang Yuan frowned slightly, subconsciously wanting to take action. But on second thought, something was wrong. After the sacrifice, the Blue Silver Emperor had been imprisoned here by Tang Heo. Not to mention recovery, her entire state was like an ignorant child, with no subjective consciousness at all. In this state, let alone stopping him from taking the soul bone, I'm afraid she can't even do the most basic activities. And in Fang Yuan's perception, the emotion conveyed by the Blue Silver Emperor was not meant to stop him, but more like a kind of closeness, a desire for growth. But I don't have the Blue Silver Grass martial soul, nor am I of the Blue Silver Emperor bloodline. How could she have that kind of feeling with me? Fang Yuan was puzzled. He looked at the Blue Silver Emperor in front of him, suppressed the idea of killing it directly, and instead took the initiative to stretch out his hand and let the Blue Silver Emperor cling to him. The Blue Silver Emperor seemed very surprised by Fang Yuan's response. She stretched out her grass leaves in a very intimate way and wrapped them around Fang Yuan's left hand. Wait, left hand? Exclamation mark. Fang Yuan paused and subconsciously spread out his palm. The next second, a green leaf swayed from his palm and poked its head out. This was Fang Yuan's second martial soul, would release. The emerald green seedling swayed in Fang Yuan's soul power, as if stretching its body. Feeling the appearance of the emerald green seedling, Fang Yuan could clearly feel that the Blue Silver Emperor's emotions became a little excited. The Blue Silver Emperor stretched out her grass leaves to Fang Yuan. Her grass leaves intertwined with Fang Yuan's branches, and a series of faint blue-gold air currents flowed along the Blue Silver Emperor's grass leaves and merged into Fang Yuan's would-release martial soul. At the same time, her emerald green breath of life also flowed out from the would-release martial soul, was actively absorbed by the Blue Silver Emperor, and merged into the Blue Silver Emperor's body. What on earth is this? Fang Yuan frowned, but he did not take the initiative to interrupt this communication. He could clearly feel that after his martial soul began to communicate with the Blue Silver Emperor, there was an inexplicable energy in his body. That energy was extremely cool and comfortable, giving Fang Yuan the feeling of being washed by a cool stream. The energy fluctuations were very gentle, and every time it washed through, it gave Fang Yuan an extremely special feeling. Fang Yuan could clearly feel that the soul power in his body was specially pulled under this power, forming a gentle fluctuation. With each fluctuation, his soul power would become a little softer. Perhaps because the Blue Silver Emperor was too weak at the moment, this exchange of soul power did not bring a significant improvement to his soul power, but Fang Yuan could clearly feel that his soul power became purer under this power. Through internal vision, Fang Yuan could clearly see that the soul power in his body was slowly fading from the original light red. Fang Yuan had been in the City of Slaughter for too long. Almost all of his soul power was cultivated in the City of Slaughter. Although he absorbed all the murderous aura from Fang Yuan, by relying on the pupil power space of the Sharingan, the soul power in Fang Yuan was still affected by the City of Slaughter, and became a little reddish. At this moment, under the impression of the Blue Silver Emperor, the murderous aura in his soul power was actually disappearing little by little. No, perhaps the word purification should be used, which is more appropriate. I am exchanging energy with the Blue Silver Emperor. Fang Yuan's expression at this moment was extremely strange, because it was not only him who had changed, but also the Blue Silver Emperor. Under the infusion of Fang Yuan's would escape power, the golden thread on the Blue Silver Emperor grass leaf seemed to be alive, and in the slight rhythm, the golden light rippled like water waves. It is growing. Looking at the Blue Silver Emperor, which was growing at a speed that was almost visible to the naked eye, Fang Yuan smacked his lips. Can we be regarded as harmonious and making progress together? Looking at the Blue Silver Emperor that was constantly emitting emerald green light, and then looking at the tree in his palm, Fang Yuan always had a strange feeling. The Blue Silver Emperor was full of the power of wood release. Ahem. The Blue Silver Emperor, which was absorbing the power of wood release, emitted a clear blue gold light, illuminating the entire stone chamber. The grass leaf that was originally only half a foot long was now 1.5 feet long, and was even about to reach 2 feet. Moreover, she was still absorbing. This can't go on. Fang Yuan muttered. Although this kind of exchange has no harm to him, and can even refine the soul power in his body. But if he keeps letting the Blue Silver Emperor absorb it, wouldn't he suffer a loss? The soul power was restrained, and the Blue Silver Emperor, who was greedily absorbing the power of wood release, and entangled in the branch, felt that the whole person was empty, and the branch disappeared quietly. Without the power of wood release, the Blue Silver Emperor was obviously a little flustered. The grass leaves kept shaking towards Fang Yuan, as if begging for something. The 2 longest grass leaves in the Blue Silver Emperor actually moved slowly, and wrapped around Fang Yuan's left hand, as if saying I want more, and give it to me quickly. Are you obsessed with my wood release? Fang Yuan looked surprised, but he quickly reacted. Thinking about it carefully, this is not surprising. The Blue Silver Emperor is the king of grass and a top-level plant-based soul beast. After the sacrifice, the Blue Silver Emperor's soul power dissipated, but the foundation was still there. Although she had no independent consciousness, her instinct as a soul beast, and as a living thing still existed. She still longed to return to the scene of 100,000 years ago and still wanted to continue to grow and grow. However, Tang Heo locked her in this stone chamber, not giving her light or water. Not to mention soul power replenishment and energy replenishment. In this case, no matter how deep the Blue Silver Emperor's foundation is, no matter how strong its foundation is, the silence of more than 10 years has already consumed all the accumulated foundation in this former 100,000-year-old soul beast. And at this moment, the appearance of Fang Yuan's wood release power is like a desert traveler encountering an oasis, or a lighthouse at dawn in the ocean of eternal night. It longs for this power. The Blue Silver Emperor wrapped around Fang Yuan's left hand, and the gentle spiritual fluctuations gradually turned into an extremely weak and soft female voice in Fang Yuan's mind. Give it to me. Feeling the spiritual fluctuations coming from his mind, Fang Yuan's face was full of surprise. He looked at the Blue Silver Emperor in front of him, and a bold idea suddenly emerged in his mind. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.